most trusted betting platform and your #1 source for everything sports betting. Every stat, matchup, breakdown, even live odds and spreads to bet on during games. With the largest catalog of odds on everything from football, MLB playoffs, NHL, NBA to political props. When the game's over, head on over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker or unwind with over 150 slot games. Head to the website today to get on the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. BetOnline. The game starts here.
Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shame for the championship. Bucking on town, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy and you probably smell the crooked referees or Roger Goodell. Buggy like this and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like this and I'm a who that. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
All right. Big ups, man. All right. Shout out to the mighty Who Dat Nation, man. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're now rocking with the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, where we have intense, entertaining, educating, and enlightening sport talk from your favorite sports fam. What's popping? Good to see you guys in the live tonight, man. I'm getting going a little later than what I wanted to, but shout out to the Who Dat Nation. We up in this thing, Sports Coma, representing to the fullest, man. So big ups to everybody. Good to see y'all in the chat. Good to see you, Mad Drummer, Slim. Good to see you, Mirage, VR12, brother OG Jerry, L-Dub. Shout out to you, Be Great, Josh. Yin, what's up, Yin? L-Dub, big ups to all y'all. Brother Edwards in this thing as well. Good to see you. All right, Gary White, shout out to you. English, big ups to you, fam. Appreciate you. Brother Quavadius is in this thing. Brian as well. Julius, much love to all y'all, man. We in this thing. Getting ready for the Saints Broncos preview. Of course, we know it is Thursday night football when we will play 3 games, 10 days. It's going to be a tough order. So big ups to the fam. Appreciate you, brother Vilma. I see you, Brute Saint. Shout out to you, Christian, Tyler, Gundam, Richard. Much love. Big ups to all y'all guys. Appreciate you. There's a poll in the chat, fam. Please feel free to get your vote in. And the poll question is, do you believe in Saints GM Mickey Loomis? We'll touch on that. Now, we covered this yesterday. We did a Patreon yesterday. It was 2.5, 240, something like that. But we looked at some film. I had some tech issues, but we did look at some film. We also covered some news. I did go over the Mickey Loomis interview yesterday. We did it on the Patreon special. So big ups to you, Millie Tuil. Good to see you, fam. Appreciate you. Argentine Dogo, shout out to you, brother Carlton. Much love, Mr. O. Big ups to you. Appreciate you, sir, as well. And we went over it. And for some of the family members that seen it, they're it was a little comedy. I had to throw a little levity in there, man, after listening to a lot of the stuff that we heard Mickey Loomis say. I'll touch on some of that today, play a little of that interview. We'll go over Dennis Allen's interview today. We'll play Coach Payton. We'll hear from Coach Payton, his thoughts on the matchup. We'll hear from him, but let's get right on into it. Big ups to you. What's up, DJ Twigger? Y'all do me a service, hit the like button. Hit that poll up too. Do you believe in Saints general manager Mickey Loomis? Out of the 50 plus people polled, 90% says no, 10% says yes. So y'all got to get your words in. We'll finalize the poll at the end of the show. So there's plenty of time. Backwoods, shout out to you, fam. Good to see you. Appreciate y'all for being here. All right. So anyway, injury report Wednesday, man, it's going down. Let's take a look at it. 18 Saints players listed on the injury report for the Thursday night matchup. So Cesar Ruiz, of course, we know he's out for the several game in a row. Derek Carr is doubtful. He'll not play. We've heard Lucas Patrick is questionable. He's a game time decision. Pete Werner's out. Rashid Shaheed obviously is dealing with a report, what could potentially be a season-ending knee injury. That's how significant it is. And this is a report, this is, of course, from NFL.com. They're talking about it, that he will undergo meniscus surgery and is a candidate for the IR during the surgery. So it's unfortunate, fam. Saints lost both their starting wide receivers. Chris Olave was in concussion protocol, did not clear it in time. Also, Rashid Shaheed, ankle, they're saying is pretty bad, significant, so that's another tough pill to swallow for the black and gold. They're listed as out, obviously. Taysom Hill is doubtful. There are reports saying that he will not play. Dennis Allen talked about that as well in the press conference. We'll play it. Peyton Turner, Elvin Kamara did practice limited. Carl Granderson fully practiced. Nate Shepard was limited. JT Gray, Alante Taylor listed as limited. Cedric Wilson Jr., Tyrann Mathieu, Willie Gay Jr., Bub Means, all full participants. And Colin Sanders was DNP'd, which is some of interest as well, because we just got Colin Sanders back a couple of games ago, and he goes from no declarations at all to being DNP'd here, and it's listed as questionable, which is game time decision. Now it's very interesting, fam, because man, we looked at all of this stuff, and we know injuries they are hitting the Saints a lot harder than they're hitting most NFL teams, but this is life in the NFL. That's why there's an invention called depth charts. You got to do your best chess playing to move pieces around to get people in position to be able to try to absorb as much of the injuries as you possibly can. Trades are required. When you see teams that are 500 or just below 500, they're making trades. We've seen two well-known wide receivers find new homes as of recent. That's what teams that are looking to stay competitive, they have to do. They have to be able to work the practice squads. That's the first thing I would do if I was the general manager. Start looking at everybody practice squad, see if I can get somebody off of that can help me. After that, I'm looking at free agency and the trade market. Who's out there that can help me right away? Because I'm trying to stay afloat. This can't be a season where we bottom out here. We have to stay afloat to the best of our ability. So trades, you have to get proactive. And that's something that I often criticize the Saints about over the last couple of years. Not what they do out of season, as you guys seen over and over again. They do good, decent work out season. But when the season starts, that's when it all counts. That's when you have to be able to get in there and make something pop. See if you can find players or trades and things that fit your current cap situation, which is precarious at best. All due to VP, general manager, Mickey Loomis. That's one thing about it. There is no confusion about why the cap situation looked the way it is and why we are trending on this path to where we're going. It's all the vision or lack of vision, whatever you want to term it, of the current VP and general manager of the Saints. He's all things football in terms of the Saints. And they all, both Gail and Dennis Lauscher, who is his boss, all allow him to guide the ship into an iceberg, and then we'll begin to spin excuses. We've heard a couple of excuses on his recent interview. Like I said, I did it on Patreon, and Mickey Loomis was singing on Patreon. I don't know if y'all heard that or not. Y'all might want to. Mickey starts singing on Patreon. All right. So anyway, big ups to the fam, man. Let's keep it going, man, as we look at the Denver Broncos next, man, and they're not as chewed up as the Saints are. Patrick Surtain is out. Jaquan McMillan, the cornerback, is going to play. Riley Moss also will participate. Alex Pelcheski, who's the backup tackle behind Mike McGlinchey, who's questionable, who some people believe he will play. That's their other tackle, starting tackle, but the backup is out. Questionable is Demario Mathis, the cornerback. Justin Sternad, the linebacker, should go. Baron Browning, the linebacker, is questionable. And McGlinchey, word on the street is McGlinchey could possibly play. So big ups to you guys as we keep this thing moving. So, like I said, unfortunate news for Rashid Shaheed, man. Set for potential season-ending knee surgery. And the crazy part about it is, like, you can't help the injuries, right? The Saints are going to deal with injuries. It's just a part of the game. You just have to stay as proactive as you can to absorb them. That's why it's very important to get other guys involved in your offense or in your defense. Some of the backup guys, let them get reps, get used to the game speed. Nothing develop players faster than live game reps. You can try to simulate it as much as you possibly can in practice, but they have to get into the actual games. That's why I was advocating for other wide receivers to be involved while we had our other guys, so we don't overuse the guys that we have that can lead to injury. Spread it out, spread the workload out. Now you have to. Now we'll see how good our offensive coordinator can be, because this is a part of the business. You're not going to always have your best players to perform up to par. The test comes when the challenge comes. That's when people are built into something or go crashing down. It's just how we are made, how you're trained. Did the parents or the environment you come from put enough good information, good game, fundamental preachings, or school in you, in your heart? That's the difference between guys and gals from different environments, whether they had that upbringing or not. Somewhere along the line, they were able to make it to it till they got what they need, and then they became successful. Is this what kind of team we have? A team that looks at adversity and smiles at it and says, all right, let's see what you got. I'm ready. Let's go. Or do they hurl at it? Do they look at it in fear? Oh my God. What's going on here? Oh Lord, all these injuries. Or do they do that? Do they say, come on, let's go? You picked the wrong person to tangle with because I'm made from steel. Let's roll. Do they do that? You'll see. We'll see what they do. That's what it's all about. Let's move on to this next. Saints reportedly add veteran wide receiver in the wake of injuries. So this happened the other day. The Saints announced the addition of veteran wide receiver because of the injuries to the starting pass catchers. Just in time, right? Brother Bob Rose, shout out to brother Kyle T. Mosley, John Hendricks, Ross, and the family at the Saints News Network. Saints announced on Tuesday afternoon that they have signed veteran wide receiver Dante Pettis to the practice squad. I remember this guy. I think he was with the Panthers. I think he had a stint with the Panthers. For whatever reason, when I think about that name, I get Panthers. To make room for Pettis, the Saints announced they had released cornerback Shamar Jean-Charles from their practice squad. This move comes in response to the key injuries to the Saints receiving corps. Olave left Sunday's game with the concussion. Rashid Shaheed suffered a knee injury in the fourth quarter of the loss, and he could miss some injury in that, and it's going to be difficult. Saints host the Broncos on Thursday, and this is a little bit of information about Mr. Pettis, who's 29 on October the 23rd, was originally a second-round selection in the 2018 draft out of San Francisco. He played in 3 years with the Niners before being released midway through the 2020 season. Over 3 years in San Francisco, Pettis appeared in 28 games, started 12 contests, caught 38 passes for 576 and 7 touchdowns. His best season with the rookie campaign, 27 catches, 467, 5 touchdowns. Giants picked him up upon his release by the Niners. He played 2 games for the Giants down the stretch. In those contests, he had 5 catches for 76 yards in the score. He also played the following year in New York, but played in only 3 games before being placed on the IR. He had 10 catches for 87 yards. The 2022 year, Pettis signed as a free agent to Chicago. He appeared in 17 games, 19 catches, 245 yards, 3 touchdowns. Right? Pettis was placed on the IR by the Bears. Ultimately was released. He was re-signed by the Bears, but also was placed on IR, the reserve, at the end of the preseason before being released again. This guy just been all over the place. So he's been around the block a couple of times. So the quarterback coach from Chicago was Andrew Janockel, who's familiar with Mr. Pettis. 2 years with the team. Janockel is the first year Saints QB coach. So they're anticipating having him there. So the 6'1", 195-pound Pettis has officially played 5 NFL seasons, has 71 catches for almost 1,000 yards and 12 touchdowns in 50 games of action. He joins the wideouts Kevin Austin Jr., who's currently on the practice squad, Equimia St. Brown there. So that's the 3 guys, the 3 wide receivers the Saints have on the practice squad: Pettis, Kevin Austin Jr., and Equimia St. Brown. He also is worth noting he will need to be replaced as a punt and kick returner. How about that? Also, his experience in his era in 2022 Chicago averaged 9.1 yards as a punt returner. So that's good to know. With also Olavi Shaheed both hurt, that only leaves Bub Means, Mason Tipton, and Cedric Wilson on the active roster. Good goobly goop. And Tipton are both rookies. Means and Tipton are both rookies. The 3 receivers have combined for 14 catches for 116 yards on 24 targets through 6 games. Barring any other additions, we should expect the Saints to add at least 1 out of Austin St. Brown or newly signed Pettis to the active roster for Thursday's game against the Denver Broncos, the game in which the Saints are 2-4, the Broncos are 3-3. So there you go. Not looking good for the home team, man. So we get this journeyman wide receiver here. Hopefully, getting him Tuesday and the game's Thursday. I don't know how much involved he's going to be. But if you're looking at kick return or punt return duties, perhaps we need to look at Jordan Mims. Perhaps he can help us there. Jordan Mims is a fast, speedy running back. We haven't used him very much. The Saints will most certainly have to use Kendre Miller because I believe Taysom Hill will not play. So Kendre could be activated. He needs to be activated. They need to use Jordan Mims as well. It has to be a full effort. We got to be creative. So anyway, we're going to go over the keys of victory in the preview as soon as we can, as we keep it moving. Let's talk a little Derek Carr, if you can stand it. Saints team doctors have sought advice on treating Derek Carr's injury. Right? What's going on here? Shout out to John Sigler from the Saints Wire. Saints will be without starting quarterback Derek Carr for a few more weeks, which gives Spencer Rattler an opportunity to learn on the job and take 5 more reps or take more reps. It's not like the Saints are planning to keep Carr on ice forever. They want him back in the lineup, and the doctors have been doing their homework to devise the best plan for treating his oblique muscle injury. Texas quarterback Quinn Ewers suffered a similar oblique strain, which is unusual injury for a football player, but the school's medical staff treated him well, and Ewers only missed 2 games plus a bye week before returning against Oklahoma in the Red River rivalry game. He scored a touchdown pass and ran for another score. On the broadcast, Fox Sports sideline reporter Holly Rose shared an interesting footnote. She said that the Saints had reached out to consult with Texas doctors on how to treat him. There you go. It's such a rare injury. It actually is something that we see in baseball pitchers and volleyball players. Misspeaking, and she said, Rose said misspeaking and calling Carr by his brother's name. Actually, David in the NFL had a similar injury. They reached out to Texas this week to try to find out how they're treating him because he looked good. A lot of different techniques. So there you go. A little information there. It's the Saints trying to find out how to treat Derek Carr, which means if that's the case, we probably going to see more Mr. Rattler, which a lot of people are not mad at, because let him go ahead on and keep him on ice. Let the man get it together. We don't need him getting hurt and all this kind of stuff. He's hurt already. Sit it out. We give live game reps to Spencer Rattler. Let him go. Just chill out, Derek. Just chill out, brother. You'll be all right. So anyway, much love to the fam, man. Let's keep it moving and grooving here as we get into some of this stuff, man. And let's get into the talk about. Here's some statistics to talk about in the game. Let me share this stuff with y'all, fam. Take a look at this. This is some of the stuff that we looking at right here. This is some simple stats right here. I call it the Broncos Saints stats. Broncos on the left, Saints on the right, black. Offense ranked in the NFL, 25th offense. The Denver Broncos are sashaying into the Superdome, or the Caesar Superdome, against the Saints. Saints currently have the 14th ranked offense, middle of the pack in the NFL. The defense, Broncos have a top 10 defense, 9 to be precise in terms of stats. And you look where your Saints defense is ranked currently. Now, let me refresh this page just to make sure. because I was looking at some statistics here and I was like, man, look at that. Look at his defense, 37 ranked there, overall stat there. So passing against you see the passing attack right here by the Broncos, 26th, 17th by the Saints, 18th running the ball, and 12th by the Saints in terms of them rushing. So we got some kind of way we got to find a way defensively. It depends on a lot, because if you're looking at a guy like, if you're looking at a player like Bink Saunders being out, that don't look good. That don't look good at all. Let's look at their depth chart, fam. Matter of fact, I got that all tuned up. Let's take a look at the Saints depth chart, because that's something that we have to pay a lot of attention to, because the Broncos, if anything, they can get after you sack-wise. When you're talking about sacks with this team, Sean Payton's team, defensively, they can get after you. So the Saints are going to have to do a better job of doing everything they can do to move the football. So we'll go over some of the statistics from some of these players. But as you can see, with all of the mounting things, with Derek Carr out, Alvin Kamara is still there. Spencer takes the job. Alvin Kamara, Jamal Williams, Kendre Miller, and Jordan Mims. So the Saints running room is intact. Out of all of the massive injuries we currently have, the Saints running back room is good. Now, of course, Taysom Hill is listed as something else, as a tight end or whatever, and they use him there. But if you look at the Saints running room, they're intact. We know Alvin Kamara is dealing with broken ribs and something else. He had another issue because he's not totally healthy. He's still dealing with multiple injuries himself. But Jamal Williams, Kendre Miller, and Jordan Mims are healthy. So you still have if you look at that room, that potentially is a very good running back room to have. And coming into the season, I would have not thought that we would be struggling so much. Well, you take a look at the Saints offensive line, you can understand. Now, if you look at the wide receivers, oh my goodness, Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed out. Bub Mean, Cedric Wilson, and Mason Timpton are your top three guys. And of course, they'll bring in maybe two wide receivers, Equimia St. Brown and perhaps Marvin Austin Jr. or something like that. We'll see. But man, you're down to your third wide receiver. And Cedric Wilson has really not done anything, to be honest with you. So, I mean, my goodness. And then your line, the offensive line all chewed up. Our tackles are intact. Fuaga and Penning are there. Nick Saldiveri on film looks horrible. We did the film work yesterday. He looked horrible. Don't know where to block. You know, when they do the run blocking, I swear almost every play, a good percentage of 95% when the Saints ran the ball on tape. When you watched all 22, it was always somebody effing up something. It was not one, maybe like less than that, 4 or 5% where they all did it well running the ball. It was always like, are these people really practicing? That's how the film looked. Like, guys that get here late, guys don't know who they blocking. Guys will double block a guy, leave another guy wide open. That's what they did Yaya Diaby. That's why he was cutting up. A lot of the plays you've seen him running down the line of scrimmage, tackling Alvin Kamara, doing this. A lot of times they just let like, whose guy is that? Whose guy is who's stupid enough not to block Yaya Diaby? He was making plays. So, I mean, they studied the film, man. We need higher, even if we know the guys, we need higher IQ football. I'm not asking them to be Eric McCoy's or Cesar Ruiz's, God knows. All I want them to be is competent. Know who to block and attack the guy. Block somebody, like Jim Morris said. Block somebody. Put your helmet. Like, it was times when we seen Nick Saldiveri lost. Like, Will Smith came out the Men in Black movie, took the damn pen and put it in his face and said, cheese, and it go flash, and you look around, where the hell am I? Where am I? That's him. Don't know his ass from a hole in the ground. Don't know who he's blocking. He's a young player, but God damn it, man. At some point, if you're practicing, you have to know who you're blocking. You and them other interior guys are killing the vibe of us, man. You really are, because we can't run the ball, and you're going to need the running attack. The eat clock, wear out the defense, and give your defense a rest. My goodness, those guys, man, they have to get better. This is ugly and sad that these guys, not I ain't expect them to be world beaters, but at the same time, aren't you supposed to know who you blocking? You're supposed to know a great deal of your plays when you run blocking, when you're pulling, and who you're pulling to. They slow getting off of blocks to get to the next level. They're doing a lot of reaching. Just totally terrible. Like they backups. Nah, bro. Backups are not supposed to be that bad, man. If you listen, man, a lot of these guys, we know they've been here since OTAs. A lot of these guys been on this team since the OTAs, man. You know how many effing practices that is? Do you know how many days that is and how many practices that is? It's not like they're doing anything else. Your business is football. You don't have to go and drive a truck or go teach a class or whatever the case may be. No, your goddamn job is football. You're going to block this guy. It's not like everybody else. The starters are practicing and the backups sitting there watching them. At practice, the backup's supposed to be working with the second team, getting their work in too. And they running the same plays so that if something happens, they're ready to step in. These guys look like they don't have no practice. They don't have any continuity at all. And each game you see is supposed to be getting better. They're doing a better job of pass blocking, but the run blocking, man, good grief, man. I'm not a patient man for that, man, because I believe all offensive linemen are supposed to know how to run block. If you can't run block, you don't deserve to be in nobody's NFL. That's a staple. You have to know how to run block. These dudes here, terrible, man. But anyway, we got to clean it up. Connor McGovern, Landon Young, he's a part of the mix too. They got to figure it out, man. It ain't like the Saints went and seen, okay, we got to go get somebody else and bring them in and see what that. They said, nah, we're going to roll with them. They're using the Mickey vision. They got the Mickey glasses on. We're going to use these guys. We're just going to run them in there and they're going to eventually, it's going to do light going to go on and then blah, 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 blah. Okay, we'll see. We'll see, man. We'll see. But the offensive line will be counted on heavily in this game, man, to be able to not only protect Spencer Rattler, because they're going to do a lot of rollout plays too. But you got to get the kid to running. You got to give him the running attack. We have to get the guys involved in the running attack. And that was one of the problems I said with last game for the preview. I was like, man, don't put it all on the rookie's shoulders. He going to do good plays for you, but he's still a rookie and he needs the running attack to win. You have to balance the offense. You can't put it all on his shoulders. That's unfair. So anyway, that's some of the stuff that we have to deal with them. And it stinks. But it is what it is, right? It's life in the NFL. And of course, we talked about, Granderson and Chase Young, a ton of pressures, but they're not getting home. These guys are not getting home where it counts. Ton of pressures, pressure. But no, they're not getting home. They're not getting home. Those pockets are way too clean. Those pockets you've seen Baker Mayfield stand in that pocket, stand tall, go through his progressions twice on certain plays. I was like, man. Even on the plays where they did the trick play, they kept a clean pocket on the trick play, right? I was like, what? That's when you're supposed to be back there because they're doing all that stuff that buys you extra time to get back there and make the play. He still had a clean, but I was like, what is this? Tampa Bay, credit Tampa Bay, they did a wonderful job in picking up the Saints blitz and neutralizing a lot of the stuff the Saints were trying to do. Really just flipped the switch and kicked the Saints clean in their backsides in the second half, man. 27-0 to push the game into 50-burger land. So it's going to be interesting. Now, like we was talking about those things that we want to see our team, our organization do, to see if they're intelligent, if they have intestinal fortitude. Remember that? That's intestinal fortitude. Do you have the kahunas? Do you have the kahunas when it matters? When things are going wrong all around you, do you not flinch? Do you stay strong in your actions and you get better, fix what you need to fix and keep it going? Is that you? New Orleans Saints? We're going to see. Because these tests, they're going to make or break you. And like I said, all the family members, upset. Now I get it. But at the same time, remember that your team is not above any of these tests. It's not going to be a cakewalk to the championship game. It won't be that. You're going to meet with injuries. You're going to meet with off-code coaching. You're going to meet with dumb leadership. You're going to meet everything on this road to prove that you're the elite of the elite. Are you smarter, tougher, stronger, and able to adjust faster than these other people? You'll be tested. And if you aren't, the weak will be purified out of the process. They'll be purged out of the process. They'll be exposed. That's why I welcome this process. The tests will prove that you're real or if you're a fake pretender. If you're a member of the elite club or you're a fake ass pretender. That's what these tests are for. And this because the fake can't go through it. They'll crumble and fall apart. Is that our team? We're going to figure it out. We're going to find out because we're getting it. Also, you see all the injuries there. Kalen Saunders is a question mark, but we need help. We need other guys. Nate Shepard, those interior guys for the defense, awful. We've been getting gashed over the last several games that culminated in almost a 300 rushing performance that Tampa Bay did. Don't expect Sean Payton not to duplicate a lot of what we've seen in the Tampa Bay game, especially in the second half. Don't be surprised if he does that. Demario Davis looked really bad on tape. Really bad. He looked like old man time Demario Davis. He looks like time is caught up on him, Demario Davis. You look at the tape on Demario. He looked awful. Awful. Awful, awful, awful. Making bad decisions, not getting where he needed to be, second guessing himself. I seen it all on tape with Demario Davis. I like, man, who is this guy? Father time catch up with you, man. It do. But often than not, that's why you got a window. You got to perform. And I know if Demario Davis is as proud or confident player as we think he is, he should respond and have a better performance against this team. This is a must win. We said that for the last 2 weeks is a must win for the Saints. Because if they lose, they take this loss into the mini bye and they got all that time to think about all the funk that's been happening over the last 5 weeks. So we'll figure it out. We'll see. But he looked really not good. So let's see if he can rebound, man. Willie Gay also was a guy missing tackles. Listen, how many missed tackles was it? The tape was hideous, man. Willie Gay missing tackles. It was like how many was it found? What was it? Over a dozen missed tackles in one game. Who does that? Then if a stat mean anything, that was a clear indication of the team collapsing. The Saints defense statistically and fundamentally don't miss a dozen plus tackles a game. And I think they missed like a something prior game. The defense is just like collapsing. Like they were on the field like not last week, the week before last, almost 40 minutes. Last game, it was like 34 minutes. But it's just like, man, I can understand the defense getting tired too, like mentally. Like we had 3 interceptions and we were only up by 3 points. We had 3 interceptions in the game. Only up by 3. I was like, man, that's weird. We had 3 turnovers. That's a game's worth of turnovers, but we was only up by 3. So I mean, it's something. It's very unique. But anyway, secondary wise, Will Harris is, we know he out with the hamstrings, but Paulson Adebo, Alante Taylor, Tyrann Mathieu, Marshawn Lattimore, positive as positive goes. Our secondary relatively have been pretty healthy, which is a positive. But we need defensively we need to get sacks. We need to do better there. And we need to stop this run. We need to stop the run, man. We got to do something. They got to change the lineup up interiorly. Something. They got to do something because this is not going to work, man. This is not going to work. All right. So anyway, let's kind of march into it, man. I'm going to show y'all their stuff in a little bit before we go over dinner salad. Let's kind of get right into the preview aspect. And I'm going to try not to bore you too much with this, man, because I know a lot of the family members know a lot of the statistics dealing with the Saints and the Broncos to go at it. They understand that. This is the Broncos stat, the passing yard stat. They're averaging right here. They're 27th rank in the NFL. They average from a passing yard perspective, almost 71 yards per game, which is not a lot. They rush at it at 107.3, which is 23rd. They score just under 19 points a contest, which is 22nd ranked. So as you can see, all those indications, that's nothing. Sean Payton still trying to build his offense. Then you get into The passing yards against, which they allow 170 yards against them, which is top 5. They allow 114.2 yards a game, which is 14th ranked, middle of the pack, and they stop you at 16 points a game, which is top 5, 4 to be exact. So 2 things stick out that they're pretty good against you, the secondary wise, and they also are pretty good in terms of kind of holding you down. So the strength really of the Denver Broncos, Sean Payton's club, is the defense. Let's look at some of the key players. Offensive, Bo Nix, almost 1,100 yards in 6 games this year, averaging a 180.3 per game with a 61.1% completion rate and 5 touchdowns against 5 picks. He's a rookie. He also was rushed for 180 yards, a second on the Broncos, added 3 touchdowns on the ground while averaging 30 rushing yards per game. Cortland Sutton, the top wide receiver for them, 21 catches, 40 off of 47 targets, 277 and 2 touchdowns, averages 3.5 yards per catch. Javonte Williams, their top running back, 213 without a rushing TD, 35.5 yards per game through 6 contests. He received 26 targets in the passing game and 20 catches, so he's a run-catch threat. Jaleel McLaughlin, who's another little back there, has run for 116, averaging 19 yards per game and scoring 1 touchdown. They like to mix these guys up. These are also 2 running backs that are receiving threats. On the defensive side, Zach Allen has 3.5 sacks, 3rd on the Broncos to go with the 9 tackles for loss on 29 tackles for 2024. Riley Moss has 39 tackles, 1 interception. He's 2nd on the Broncos in tackles this season. Brandon Jones has put up 44 tackles and a pick. This season, Jonathan Cooper has 25 tackles and 4.5 sacks. So these are some of the guys that you look at from the Broncos side of things when you talk about their team, like we talk about Bo Nix. And he's the starting quarterback for them. He's a rookie quarterback that Sean Payton picked. And they won 3 in a row. Now, they lost this game against the Chargers. Last week's game against the Chargers, they want to get back on the right side of things. So Sean Payton has them motivated. Like I talked about Javonte Williams being there, they top back. They mix Williams and McLaughlin together a lot, both running and receiving threats. Cortland Sutton, it's the top wide receiver. The Speeds, Troy Franklin, slot man Devon Bailey. They also have LeJarden Humphrey on their squad as well. Adam Troutman, the fish man, is their starting tight end, and the backup is Lucas Krull. All players we familiar with. Of course, Sean Payton likes to get former players from over here. Nate Atkins is the fullback, and you can see his line there with Garrett Boyles is the best of the linemen. Ben Powers, Alex Forsythe, Quinn Manners, and Alex Pachowski, which I think Mike McGlinchey is supposed to be activated for this game. That's what they're saying. Who is their other starting tackle? We'll see. Zach Allen, I just talked about his stats, is one of the top defensive players. DJ Jones, Jonathan Frank Myers fills out the linebacker core. Benito Sternad, who was banged up, but I think he's good to play. Cody Barton, Jonathan Cooper. Pat Surtain II is out, so they'll have somebody else in his place with Riley Moss on the opposite side, Jaquan McMillan, and then the free safeties of Brandon Jones and PJ Locke. Will Lutz is the kicker. Riley Dixon is the punter. So there you go with the Sean Payton squad. So it's a team, defensively speaking, Sean Payton's team. This is a good defensive team that get after you. They get after you. So we have to be able to watch out for that. So we'll see. All right. Anyway, man, we know what time it is with our squad, man. We got a lot of people we could talk about. Alvin Kamara, his rushing ability. He's put up 428 total rushing yards. He's averaging over 71 yards per game and 4 yards per rush. Pay the man. Kamara's contribution includes 28 catches, averaging almost 5 yards per game. And that statistic, 36 targets on that, 238, and average almost 40 yards per game in those yardage and 1 receiving touchdown. Carr is out, so I don't need to talk about him. Rashid Shaheed is out, and Chris Olave is also out. But Paulson Adebo is like 4th, I think, in the NFL in interceptions through 6 games. Alante Taylor has 3.5 sacks. That's 2nd on the Saints team behind Brian Bresee. Brian Bresee currently leading the team there. During the 24 season, Tyrann Mathieu, 23 tackles and 2 picks. Carl Granderson, 3 sacks, 3rd on the Saints, as well as 3 tackles for loss and 24 tackles. 3 sacks. So and then of course you see the statistics here for the Saints and their passing yards. 21 in the NFL with 200 per game. The rushing at 119.5 is 13th in NFL. Points per game, 29. If you average up, that's 4th, which we'll see about all this because a lot of these stats, our offensive stats, are kind of clouded because of the first 2 games where we just blew them out the water. You're starting to see it settle back to what it is. And then you look on the defensive side, look at that. Passing yards against, which is the secondary, 262.2, which is 29th in the NFL. Rushing yards against, they're giving up 134 yards a game. That's good for 20th in the NFL. They're allowing 24.5 yards per game, which is 23rd. So we have a lot of stuff. Defensively, you're starting to really, as the games build, you're starting to really see who truly the Saints defense is. So a lot of people, including myself, didn't anticipate the New Orleans Saints defense looking like this. Like you would think that they would be the stalwart defense that we knew they could in stopping the run, number one, and playing secondary. We looked at the secondary as a top unit, as a top 3, top 5 unit. You look at the defense, we say Colin Sanders, Nate Shepard, Brian Bresee. You add what's my guy name? Christian Boyd there. You trade for John Ridgeway the third. You put them there and you say, man, we're going to be all right. We don't look that good. So we got to do better, man. And of course, like I said, man, the keys to victory in my mind, fam, as we go over some of this stuff and we go into keys to victory. Listen, on a short week, you can't. All you can do is do light work because the guy's already beat up. You can talk at them. You know, the good thing about being a short week is after a blowout loss the Saints had at home to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a division rival, they now have one up on you just like Atlanta does. All you can do after a demoralizing effort like that is talk at them. They got these light practices they do because they don't want to bang up anybody. They're trying to get them ready for the Thursday game. So you got a lot of negative, not what it is, but Chris Olave is not going to clear concussion protocol in time for Thursday. Rashid Shaheed could be facing season-ending injury. You might lose him. So you have to find a way to do this. My reservation is this. We seen Bub Means shine, but these are rookie players. There's only so much you're going to get out of them. Guys like Cedric Wilson Jr. have to step up. They got to step up. The tight ends, Juwan Johnson, Foster Moreau, they got to step up. Jamal Williams, they got to step up. Jordan Mims, all these guys, Kendrick Miller, they got to step up. This offensive line have to step up for this challenge. All of them have to play greater than who they actually are as collectives, which we have seen them being disjointed because a lot of times you don't see the linemen winning the one-on-one matchups. That's why the breakage is happening. Individual matchups, they're not winning. You look at the all 22, the interior offensive linemen are not winning those matchups. This guy on the left wins, and then this guy on the right loses. It's always some junk like that. It's all disjointed. They have to get smarter, quick, and do their damn job. Bottom line. And then, of course, schematically speaking, we could talk about Dennis Allen because that's his defense. This team's supposed to be about Dennis Allen, supposed to be a defensive team. Defense is suffering right now. They can't stop the run. They're giving up. They're getting penalized a lot. They're breaking down there. In a few games, the Saints were able to get a lead. They couldn't hold the lead. The Buccaneers game, the bottom fell out. They just quit on them. That's what I seen, especially in the fourth when you missing a dozen. You missed 14 tackles, I think it was, in one game. How you do that? That's ridiculous. We don't miss no double. If you miss 8 or 9 tackles, that's worse than people miss like what, 12 or 14, some stupidness like that. I don't know. It's crazy. But anyway, the crazy part about it outside of that, do the Saints win against the Broncos with all of the stuff they have? Well, it depends. It depends on Clint Kubiak, which is a question and a challenge I've been saying to Clint Kubiak for a while, which is I've been challenging this dude to start using other players not named Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, Taysom Hill, Elvin Kamara. I was saying it over and over again. Dude, don't do it. He don't get these guys involved. If he would have did it then, they would have had some experience here to deal with this shit. But the dude, I don't have any faith and confidence in his ability to get other guys involved. Now you got to now because he ain't got nobody now. They gone. Most of them dudes is banged up. He ain't gonna have Taysom. He's not gonna have Chris Olave to underuse, and he's not gonna have Rashid Shaheed to overuse, the force feed. So we're gonna see what he really is made of. Because it's up to him. He picked these guys, the Mims, the Williamses, and all these other guys. He picked those guys and told Dennis Allen, you like who you want on your offense? Well, him. You picked them up. So you're supposed to know how to utilize those guys. We don't see them guys. They see them smashing their ass most of the time. Some kind of way you got to get the run. If you can't run inside, you run outside. If you got to use speedy wide receivers, use speedy wide receivers. Do what you got to do. And then when they stretch out the defense, then you run inside. It's a game of ebbs and flows. It's not complicated. It's football. It's a child's game. It's nothing complicated about this. It's not. If you can't run inside, run outside until you can run inside. How do we know? Because we've seen these teams do that to the Saints over the last 5 weeks. We've seen them do it to them. We've seen the Atlanta Falcons run Tyler Algieri all over them. He was averaging 6-7 yards a carry on the Saints. They susceptible as hell to the delayed draw or the draw or even the dive. It don't matter. Hit them with all of it. So the defense will have to stiffen up. They will have to, as I call it, calcify. They will have to calcify. And the Saints offensive coordinator will have to be able to call a game where he gets these other guys involved. Will he? Well, he has no choice now. It's going to be a difficult one, man. It's going to be a difficult one. We need to win, man. We need to get the win. But it's going to be a difficult contest, man. What kind of Saint team we going to see? We'll see. We'll see, man. We'll see. But I would have to say, man, I think they don't get this one. I think with everything they're going through, I don't think they muster up enough to get this one. I like Spencer. Well, we'll see, man, because they got a rookie. We got a rookie. Their defense, we'll see if they blitz our guy, knock him on his ass. If the Saints don't give Spencer Rattler a rushing attack, don't count on a win. If you can't run the ball, man, don't count on a win. If we can't run the ball, man, then you're not gonna win. That's the bottom line. The Saints have not been able to run the football lately. So that's the biggest encumbrance to a win. We can't seem to run the ball effectively. And until we do, we probably not going to win. You know, I hate to say that, but it is what it is, man. They got to find a way to run that goddamn ball, man. Anyway, let's go on. Let's move to this gentleman right here. Let's hear from this gentleman. As you can see, he's very, very positive and ready to talk to you about a few things. We'll hear from a little bit from Dennis Allen, then we'll play Coach Payton, then we'll go over the Mickey thing.
Trying to get our bodies back, get ready to go out there and play some good football. So that's the mindset of our football team right now.
Based on where Olave is at in the protocol, do you foresee him
He'll
playing?
be out. Yeah.
How challenging is the injury issues on a short week for you guys as you get ready for this one?
Yeah, look, I mean, I think injuries are a challenge in any week, but I think especially when you're talking about a short week to try to get guys back and ready to go. So, we'll be out there and put a team on the field, and we got to go out and play good football. We got to go out and execute, do the things we're capable of doing, eliminate the things that cost you opportunities to win.
Maybe looking at pretty much any stat, Denver's kind of up there near the top of the NFL. What do you think they've done well defensively this year?
Well, they play hard. They play fast. They got pretty good little pressure package that they like to utilize. I think their secondary covers well in the back end. They generally take the ball away pretty good, and they get after the passer pretty well. So they do a lot of things really good. I've been impressed with what I've seen out of them, defensively and what they've done.
What do you think your team has done well through 6 weeks?
Well, look, I mean, up until probably the last couple of weeks, I thought we put ourselves in positions to win games. We hadn't been able to finish. I think we're battling through some injuries right now, but that's the nature of the game. That's the nature of our sport, and we've got to have guys that can step up and make plays and give us some opportunities to win. So, I think we've got to play better than we have the last couple of weeks.
Is the soft tissue stuff higher this year than normal? It seems like it's a little bit.
Well, I think for us it has been, so look, that's something that we're trying to pay attention to, trying to figure out the reasons why, what we can do differently, how we can affect that. And look, I think some of it is the nature of the game that we play, but I got to think that there's some things that we can, potentially do that affect that, and quite frankly, we need to.
Can that improve drastically in season, or is there stuff you can do?
Well, I can't tell you that I got the research that says that that's something that we can do, but I think from how we practice, how we recover, how we hydrate, how we sleep, the nutrition that we put in our body. I mean, I think those are all things that we need to look at and how we can do those things better, because those are the things that we can control. And so I think that's something that Mickey and I have spent a lot of time talking about, and something we're paying attention to.
You obviously don't want to you don't want to lose your top receivers, but the fact that Spencer has reps with the guys who.
Yeah, look, anytime you get guys that go down, it's opportunities for somebody else. And so we'll have some other young guys that have an opportunity to step up and get a chance to play, and we're counting on them to step up and play well.
What do you think of when Spencer was extending play, his ability to kind of improvise and feel where receivers
Yeah, I think that's one of the characteristics that we really like about the player, his ability to improvise, his ability to make a play, and in particular make a play when things break down. And so I think that's a quality that he has. And you saw it on display at times in the game last week.
How did he respond to?
Yeah, look, I see a smart guy. I see a guy that distributes the ball. I see a guy that makes a lot of plays with his feet. And that's challenging, on a defense when a quarterback can extend plays and make plays with his feet. So, I think he's operated their offense very well in terms of what they're asking him to do. They're pretty good in the RPO game. I think he's done a nice job.
Sean was saying they met with Spencer.
Yeah, that Bo Nix is picking up Sean Payton's system pretty well, and he looked pretty good on that 3-game winning streak. Very smart quarterback, man. Shout out to Head Trauma saying the coaches are evaluating the players, but who's evaluating the coaches? Supposed to be Mickey Loomis. That's your guy, Mickey. I remember when Mike Hoss asked him the question, "Who's evaluating you?" He kind of jokingly asked him. He's like, "Oh, I don't know." The answer is nobody. Nobody's evaluating Mickey Loomis. He got a lifetime job that nobody dare challenges him on. It's one thing to be able to be having the personage, the character, to be able to deal with such a responsibility, but not turn arrogant and cocky, blind, hard-head, to become that, because that's what he became. How dare you ask him a question? How dare you challenge his decisions on his team, his coach? And now it became basically a struggle. It become now a struggle of, regardless of if Dennis Allen loses 8 straight games, Mickey Loomis is going to stand tall. Oh, well, we got our players back. We'll show you all. We'll show you. I'll tell you. Listen, injuries. Now listen, hold on now. Everybody has injuries, we all have injuries. Let me tell you, we all have injuries here. And listen, I could say to you, buddy, we're not supposed to use injuries as an excuse, but hey, hold on now. I tell you, listen, we got a lot of injuries, and because of those injuries, you gotta understand now, because of the the shortened practices, and that's why we missed all those tackles. Shortened practices, and they changed the rules of tackles. And that's why. Okay, Mickey, question. Oh, hold on now. I'm talking up here. Go ahead, answer your damn question. Yeah, Mickey. With all the other teams out there's several other teams out there, Mickey, that's winning football games. The whole NFC North, all those teams have winning records. How do you explain that about them, the tackles, about Wiltshire? Well, hold on, goddammit. No, don't contradict me here. Let me tell you something. I take that goddamn guy's press badge. Hold on now. Yeah. So, I mean, it's just, it becomes a comedy hour because it's a struggle. You could be you're 1,000% right. The league is not for long unless you work for the Saints, because the Saints don't run this team like a business. They run it like an old mafia. I told you that. This is old and antiquated, and the guy that's running it is beyond his time. He's done what he's supposed to do. He made his contribution. Move the hell on. but he's sitting on top and he won't be challenged. And it's a power struggle between him and you. That's why the reporters are saying, I heard what Nick Underhill said. He said, I've been around these people, I'm telling you. And he's telling the truth. But we said that, but I said the same damn thing. Mickey Loomis is not going to change anything. If he is not going to take instruction from you, just shut up and buy the damn tickets. I know what I'm doing. You're unqualified. He said that twice, told people they weren't qualified. He also made reference to the reporters as that's not classy or whatever he said. He quick to berate you and get mad at you for his fuck ups. Pardon my French. But this is the lunacy and the craziness of this mentally ill crap that's going on here. How do you get mad at me for your screw ups? I'm reacting to your issues, to your mishaps, your problems, your dysfunction. And the response is to get mad at you and demean you and tell you you're not qualified. You're not qualified. I didn't ask you for anything. That's not the point. The point is, are you winning or losing? Well, we're losing. We're losing. Oh, that's no doubt about it. So you're going to make a change? Oh, well, hold on. We got a lot of injuries. And, it's just, so how do you, if it becomes between Mickey Loomis and you, he already done lost. All you have to do is just say, I'm not buying the tickets until you make a change. Simple as that. You don't even have to get mad. Just don't do it. Been saying this for a while, man. That's how you chastise these people, because they need to be chastised. Anytime a man come out and tell you you're not qualified and all this kind of nonsense, it's time for chastising to work here. I'm going to be the universal instrument to chastise your ass. The Most High has deemed you and everybody out there, we need to get at these people. The best way you get at them is by pulling away your support while you're telling them you're pulling away your support. Stay from down there while them people disrespecting you and putting the sorry ass shit out here for you to watch and making you look crazy. And got Atlanta people talking reckless to you. And people like that. We can't even talk shit about the Cowboys. Cowboys, as bad as they look, they ain't lose no 4 games in a row. I'm gonna play them in a little bit. I'm gonna play them and let y'all listen. Y'all probably heard them before. I'm gonna put my speak on it, but man, listen. Recognize when you got. I'm a person. I don't believe in that, man. I don't care in what form it comes. I don't believe in one-way relationships. It's a waste of time. You don't put your energy into nothing you're not gonna get back. And I don't care if you being what you call selfish or whatever the case may be. Selfish means you got to do for you first. Preserve thyself first. And when you're good, then you give to others. But that's a balance. You don't give all until you have none. That's an imbalance. That's a violation. No one-way relationships. That'll save you some heartache. That'll save you some money. Save you some time. Listen to me on that. That includes the Saints. If they want to play this game, and Mickey Loomis is dead wrong, he know this guy ain't no head coach. If this guy was anywhere else in his 3rd year and the team was going through a 4-game losing streak, they would have cut his strings 2 games ago. But this has become a power struggle in his mind. Well, listen, those guys are not going to, your guys are not going to tell me how to run my team. It's not your team, bro. Well, I'm the VP. I'm the general manager. You're not going to tell me how to run it. I might just stay here for another 10 years. Didn't he say that last year? Did he say that at the end of the press conference? Cat Terrell asked him, there's rumors that you're supposed to be, giving up the general manager job or something to that effect. What did Mickey Loomis say? That's just something somebody made up. Somebody made up. Hell, I might be here another 10 years. And then Lauscher and Gail Benson didn't bat an eye. Why they call you unsophisticated or whatever he says and unqualified? Does Gail or Lauscher bat an eye? No, they don't. Chastise time. We did this before. This is history repeating itself, fam. We did this before. When the Saints was doing this in the 80s, when they was stinking it up and not investing in the team, people put them bags on as a warning at first, because the history of it is we put the bags on to demean the team to the press. Then it's like to demean the team, because before they put the bags on, they was telling the Saints to change. They didn't listen. They put the bags on to demean the team. Then after they didn't listen to that, they stopped going to the games and pulled the money back. That's when they got serious. That's always the case. That's what every damn thing. That's what everything. You have to have the discipline and the IQ to understand the principles and activate it. You get everything you want in the world if you do it as a collective. It's as simple as that. It's nothing. It's not complicated at all. It really isn't. Anyway, let's move from Dennis Allen. Let's hear from Coach Payton, man. Let's hear what the old man Payton had to say, man. This is a press conference that he did yesterday talking about the black and gold, what he perceives or what he's thinking about. Look, old man Payton, man. Here we go.
What meetings this evening,
Hold on, before we get to Coach Payton, shout out to your head trauma. Appreciate you, man, for your super chat, brother.
Thank you. You're fuck too kind.
Thank you, bro.
I
Appreciate
think the recovery is real important, and how we handle the week. Any questions?
During the pre-draft process, how much did you guys look into Rattler and just what are your questions?
We spent a lot of time with him. I'd say there was 5. Pro day, and then we had a private workout. We were all in Phoenix, Scottsdale area where he's from. Steak dinner, the whole 9 yards. Test in the morning, throw. He did really well. It's not surprising to see. There's a again, I'm going to use an analogy. There's a calmness when he plays, and he too has been through, the adversity early on, coming out of high school to Oklahoma and then transferring. But there is a confidence when he's on the field, and you see that in preseason and last week. It's not too big for him, and he's got a live arm. We were really impressed, and look, not that it matters, but we had him graded higher, and I'm sure the Saints did as well. And it got to a point where you just had to take the grade, but he was impressive.
Sean, I know messages about players from other teams. The knowledge that you guys have of plenty of the roster, Pete being there, and then BJ working with Joe and Rob, does that help you both?
I think from a personnel perspective, look, you'd say most recently Cody, and so because there are a lot of players there for me that I'm unfamiliar with, but Pete or Cody and so that part, relative to the scouting report, strengths, weaknesses, and then look, Dennis and I have worked together for he was on our original 06 staff, and then became our defensive backs coach, became a defensive coordinator, came here, and then head coach. Then I hired him back, so I think this, though, I think, and I think I said this the other day, I think on a short week, there'll be, a wrinkle or two, but I think so much of it is the rest and recovery and preparation mentally, because you can't actually get maybe the full speed work that you'd like. And that's Thursday Night Football. I mean, that just is what it is. And so, yeah.
Along those lines, what's the biggest challenge of these short weeks, especially Thursday night?
It would just be the recovery, the time from your game to the next game. And so I think we've done it long enough. When I say that, our league has, where teams maybe 10 years ago weren't as, in Dallas, they play one every year, right? Like long before there was Thursday. And look, I can recall, I could tell you the game. We were playing Miami, Sunday our game ended. Coaches, we were back in Sunday night, and we had a short week, and it was just different for all of us, but man, we struggled in the game. So it was like, all right, that's not, in other words, and I think by and large, most of the teams have begun to figure out that schedule, and adjust.
But I've talked to people in New Orleans a few times. I've been back there. There's a little bit of an us against the world, and it seemed like you embraced that when you were the coach. What is it you enjoyed about coaching there in New Orleans?
I think what happened, none of us planned. In other words, I don't know that we anticipated where we were going at the time we were going. We were going post-Katrina. In other words, I was with Dallas, and I'd interviewed in Green Bay, and I was on the New Orleans interview waiting to hear from the late Ted Thompson. And Mickey Loomis I'd met for the first time. I seemed to like him, but have you ever been on one of those interviews where you're kind of looking around thinking, man, this is his problem. It's not going to be mine. And that evening I went back to the hotel to take a break before dinner, and I got a voice message that I hadn't gotten that job. And I remember throwing my phone into the pillow and just like, holy cow. And where I'm going with it is, Drew Kane, I remember us recruiting him thinking he's going to Miami. And then obviously you take a player like Reggie Bush, who's going to get drafted by the Texans. And so fate would have it, there were a number of us that ended up there. And all right. And so we're starting a rebuild. But I think none of us could ever understand the impact relative to it was bigger than football. And that we weren't prepared for. I don't think any of us were. And then that first year, I don't know, in preseason, I don't know if we won a game. At one point I remember thinking, I don't know if we're going to win a game this year. And then, we won a close one at Cleveland to start the year. We still hadn't played at home. They were still fixing the Superdome. We went on the road and fell down to Green Bay, if my memory's right, 13 points. We came back and won that game. And then and so right off the top, we had some close games and then beat Atlanta. That was the Monday night game. And so I've said this before, it wasn't our best team, but it was one of our tougher teams. And we ended up in the NFC Championship game in that first year. And but it was more than that. It was just the recovery. And we would fly home from regular season games. There'd be, 1,000 people at the airport. Just like none of us could have ever envisioned that. So there was a uniqueness to it. And I think a lot of it, they've always been passionate, but I think a lot of it had to do with the year prior and how difficult it was. And so, and then pretty soon, I remember we had to look, you have to beat your division, and Gruden was at Tampa and they'd won a Super Bowl. Foxy, those are two good friends of mine. Look, two closest. I'd worked with John for 4 years at the Giants. We were both coordinators there, went to a Super Bowl, and John Fox, and then Gruden, hired me. I was his assistant in Philly, and these are two good coaches in our division. And so that was the first step, trying to figure out how to, but meanwhile, I think that uniqueness timing wise, and then they hadn't had a lot of success. And then anyway, so that was different. And I think, and I'm not like, when I say there's over 100 people that share that same experience, that was like, wow, we weren't prepared for that.
Shout out to Coach Payton, man. Shout out to Coach Payton. There'd be no hatred of Coach Payton when he plays tomorrow, man. He's absolutely right, man. You go back, and I'm pretty sure you guys and your collective, you remember exactly how it played. Drew Brees was the chips just fell right. You know what I mean? The conditions were perfect for what would happen with the Saints. The year prior, we had the storm. The Saints prior to Sean Payton, a couple of years before Sean Payton hired, they were terrible. Matter of fact, that's what I was saying too. That's a sticking point about what I was talking about early on about cutting the support. Listen, this is the history of it. The Saints were so bad, and you can pull up newsreels about this. Tom Benson at the time was threatening the city and the state to move the team to San Antonio because he wanted a new arena. He wanted a new stadium to be built on the War Lumber site on the West Bank. He wanted to buy that property, demolish the War Lumber site, and build up an open air stadium. They had the renderings and all that. You can still find that online. He was saying he didn't want to play in the dome, didn't want to do all that because he wanted a brand new building. And the city and the state was saying, and the people were saying, hell no, we're not giving you that. This team is terrible. And there was a power struggle. All that was going on. And then the team was like, hey, take your team and people was like, take that ragged ass team out of here, bring them down to the Spurs. But he had businesses down to San Antonio. He was threatening and using San Antonio's Alamo Stadium as leverage to say, listen, if you don't give me what I want, I'm going over there. And people's like, man, take that team and get that shit out of here. That's how they were feeling because the Saints were bad. They were awful. They were a laughing stock. And people got tired of going to the games. The attendance was down. It was so bad the games wasn't even on television. They were blacked out. That's how bad it was. And then it all changed. Katrina came in, but the support wasn't there for the Saints. Then Katrina came in, and it destroyed the same. But after they hired Coach Payton, shout out to them for hiring Coach Payton. They wanted Kubiak. It's crazy how it went because they wanted Garrett Kubiak, but Garrett Kubiak wanted to be the Saints coach. He turned him. He took the contract that the Texans gave him and wanted Tom Benson to match, and he said no. And Sean had an offer. I think it was from Green Bay, but some kind of way that got nixed. And then they had the offer. The Saints gave Sean Payton the offer. Then came him looking for the quarterback because he had to build a whole team from scratch. That's why Mickey Loomis talk about Dennis Allen and Sean Payton. It's two parallel universes, two opposite end of the spectrums. If you're a history person, you understand the distances between these two organizations. Sean Payton's an alpha dog, a guy that knows football, and knows how to bring people together. And whatever he lacked, he would go and get people to help him with it. That's what Sean Payton's really good at. So when he became the coach, he went to find Drew Brees. They tried to get Drew. He wanted Drew. Drew didn't want to come here. Drew was trying to go to Miami, who at the time was ran by Nick Saban, who was there at Miami. He was the coach and general manager. He took the job for 1 year and then gave the job back. He went 8-8 and took his ass to Alabama. He left LSU for that job to go to Miami. And he chose Dante Culpepper over Drew Brees, and Drew Brees came to the Saints after that. So you got to see how it all fell towards you. The Saints end up getting that pick. They end up getting Reggie Bush. All that stuff fell in a line, one after the other. Bam, 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 bam. And they made the right decisions, and it just took off. It had to happen like that. If you was a shittish organization or team prior to that, and then in 1 year you bring in all these different people and they mesh that fast, and then they go to the, end up in the championship game. That it all fell in harmony. Bam, bam, bam. Because one decision not going your way changes that whole dynamic. It is not the same when you talk about Dennis Allen. Dennis Allen had Sean Payton's team. He built the defense up. All he needed to do to add a few more pieces to it and take it to the promised land. Sean Payton team should have made the playoffs in his last year. But Sean Payton was talking to reporters, and we covered it at the time. Matter of fact, it was Jay Glazer, the little short guy from Fox, the Insider, that Payton was telling him behind the scenes somewhere in between October and November of the year when Sean Payton, the year before Sean Payton retired, I think it was the last season, October, November of that year, between that time frame, he was telling Jay Glazer, hey, when I retire this year, I'm going to give you the scoop. And you can do it. Jay Glazer said all that on the show. And I was like, guys, did you hear that? I played it back for the family. So he told him during the season, Sean Payton, that's not how Sean Payton never operated. He didn't talk about that kind of stuff. He wouldn't even focus on football. He was worrying about retirement during the year. And Glazer kind of let that leak out. I said, see, he wasn't even focused. And you could tell that should have been a Super Bowl. That should have been a playoff team. But when Drew left, who was 39 years old, I think it was, Sean Payton the following year left too. And we kind of figured that. We figured, and I thought originally that when Drew goes, Sean goes. But he did not want to go because he didn't want to leave the team like that, is what I was thinking. As a matter of fact, I think he said that. He didn't want to leave like that. Like Drew relieves, he leaves. But it didn't happen like that. But Sean Payton was the guy that told Mickey Loomis, hey, man, we need to hire Dennis Allen. He's the guy for the job. So in part, you going through this because Mickey Loomis listened to Sean Payton. He always listened to Sean Payton. Sean Payton can get anything out of him. He can get a top-notch kicker who just was coming off of core surgery. He can get an extra pick, a third-round pick, even though Denver didn't even ask for that. All they wanted was Sean Payton, but some kind of way, Mickey Loomis added a third-round pick to go there to help Sean Payton draft. So nobody questioned that except for me. I'm sitting up here saying, why are we giving a third-round pick? We need that goddamn pick. That's a third-round selection to build this team. We need that pick. No questions. But at the end of the day, man, Sean Payton coming home, and the delicious irony of the situation is What can end up happening is Sean Payton beat Dennis Allen, ultimately leads him to the unemployment line. And Dennis Allen, who helped him get a job, would probably take it away from him if he loses this game, help him lose it. And ultimately, when Dennis Allen does get fired, because he will eventually get fired, what's going to end up happening is he's going to go to Denver to Sean Payton, just like what's his name? Pete the Rat Carmichael did. They're going to just go right over here and go to him. He did the same thing. When he took the Raiders job, they fired his ass some kind of way. He found his way back to Sean Payton. Some bitch got a parachute plan. That's why he ain't tripping. Hell, man, I'm better at defensive coordinator. I ain't supposed to be here anyway. I done stole this money right here. Hey, Sean, hey, man, listen, I got you. I can come over here and be a defensive assistant. Yeah, you just and an advisor or whatever. They'll pull up a position for him. Hell, that's what they do. Anyway, speaking of bull crap, let's go into this, man. Let me play a little list right here if you can stand it. Shout out to the fam. Thank you, Ryan. He says, Q, I don't want it is. He says, I'm in the room at every press conference. Dennis Allen and Mickey Loomis ignore me every time, says the elephant. Yes, that's how it does, right? Mickey Loomis is good at ignoring people, especially if you got good sense. Thank you, Ryan. Appreciate you, man, for that.
Thank you. Get fucked too kind.
Oh, yeah, brother. Yeah, if you got good sense, you're going to get ignored. Be prepared to be ignored. Thank you, Argentine Dogo, becoming a YouTube member. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Get fucked too kind.
Thank y'all, man. Appreciate y'all. All right. So anyway, fam, let's get ready to kind of tune this up, man, with Mickey Loomis here. And let's hear what he had to say, man, about this. Now, some of you guys heard this, man. This will be our last thing before we kind of dirk out this thing. But this, we'll stop and go. I covered a lot of this on the Patreon show. I added a little comedy to it, man. Some sound effects. Mickey even sung a song on there. So I tell you, man, you got to make sense of this or you'll go crazy. Shout out to y'all, man. Y'all hit the like button for me, man. And hit the poll up, man. Do you believe Saints GM Mickey? Do you believe in Saints GM Mickey Loomis? We got almost 200 people on that vote, almost voted in the poll. And right now it's 88% of almost 200 people saying no. Do you believe in Mickey Loomis? The same Mickey Loomis that hired Sean Payton, that's his calling card. I hired Sean Payton. Hell, Dennis Allen is a good coach. Remember that? We played that yesterday. Anyway, listen, for all my content creators out there that's listening, I want y'all to do me a favor. I want y'all to take all of Mickey Loomis's stuff that he did over the last 3 years of the Dennis Allen administration, all the gaffes, all of the crap, all of the you're not qualified comments, the eye bucking that he did when he was the stuff that he was naming, when he started naming out and smacking that gum and starting, Chuck, no, yeah, such and such. And he started going through all the stuff like he was doing something deep. Y'all remember that? Crazy, man. You done lost it. Anyway, let's y'all here go Mickey Loomis. Here we go.
Felt like things were turning, but just could not get it together in the second half.
Yeah, look, I was really proud of our team on the way we came back after being 17-0 down. We bounced back, made some big plays on defense, had a special teams play. The offense converted, and there were some good things that happened in that first half. Look, the second half, it didn't go our way, and it started off with our first possession. We're moving the ball and had a couple things happen that were of our own doing. And, man, the game kind of turned right there. I felt like we needed to get an early score and get some momentum and some positive things happening. And it didn't happen. They made some adjustments. We had difficulty running the ball. So I think they recognized that, did a lot more blitzing, kept Spencer inside the pocket. They just played better than we did in the second half.
Now, Mickey, how do you view this, all your years of experience and all the football that you've witnessed? Then when you're looking at how do you evaluate, because no one practices tackling anymore. You might tackle a dummy, but no, you get paying the players a bunch of money, can't get anybody hurt. They still get hurt even though we don't tackle. And the tackling was atrocious, like Dennis Allen said. Maybe we got to do more tackling drills. But is it about effort, or how do you view that? Because I'm looking at it's a trend that's not good. It's the third straight game in which the Saints have double-digit missed tackles. Is it the individual players? You look at like even before the Bucs game against Kansas City, we had 12 missed tackles, and then all of a sudden against Atlanta we had 10, and then we all know what occurred yesterday. So how do you view, as an an observer, and you evaluating the talent, how do you view like tackling, and how do you finish the deal on the defensive side? Because they got to be totally unacceptable when you give up 277 yards rushing. Come on, Ohio State versus Kent State. I mean, it's the NFL versus NFL. So how do you view like all the years you watch like tackling, and all of a sudden it's a trend where 3 straight games we've done a horrendous job.
Shout out to Ryan, man. Thank you for the cash up too, bro. Appreciate it. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Ryan. Appreciate you, bro.
Job of tackling.
I think there's 2 answers to that. The first one's a little more global, right? It's more about the league, and I think these are the fundamental things like this are part of the consequence of a smaller, a shorter off season, not practicing as many times. Look, Bobby, when you were playing, you had in training camp, you probably had 60 to 65 padded practices in training camp, right? And now we have 17. And in general, I would say league wide tackling is it's not a lost art, because there are guys that are good tacklers, but it's a lot more rare and missed tackles. Was a lot more common. So I think from a global standpoint, that's one of the real difficulties. Is how do you practice tackling when you don't have as many live practices and padded practices that are necessary.
So the problem with the Saints, and this is just, we're going to tunnel vision this to the Saints, because he's not talking about, he's trying to take his, the problem is, yeah, hold on now. Well, the problem is the league. See, they changed the practices, the amount of practices. That's why we're tackling bad. That's why we're having such a problem. Oh, okay. That's so the double-digit tackle misses, the missed tackles over the last couple of games is just because of the fact that they don't have as many practices anymore, right? Oh, yeah, well, that's it. And if you think any other way, you're absolutely out of your rocker, mister. No, Mickey. That didn't make any sense. And I'll tell you why that doesn't make any sense. Your excuse making. That was a stretch. That was one of them stretches that you stretch so hard you pop all your damn arm out of the socket. That was an arm popping, pulling your arm out of your socket stretch that Mickey Loomis just, how the hell do you take the fact that the NFL practice schedule and blame it for how the Saints have looked poorly with double-digit missed tackles over the last 2 games? We talking a 2-game span, last 2 games. So when they were winning, get this, when the Saints were caving people goddamn heads in over the first 2 weeks, practice wasn't a factor then, right? Oh no, well, hold on, that's a little different. You kind of paint me into a corner, mister. Yeah, don't do that. No, it's logic. That was a stretch, and that is also an excuse. There is no, that is absolutely ridiculous what you just said. When the Saints were beating people's ass in weeks 1 and weeks 2, you wasn't talking about the practice schedule then. How really coincidental is it for the practice schedule of the NFL that they changed and you've been knew about, that we've been going through for we're now week 7? It's been happening almost in the center of the year, and now it's a problem when you're on a 4-game losing streak. You see what I'm saying about the BS? This dude is not even governing out of logic anymore. Whatever, he just excuse making from the furthest reaches of the Netherlands. That dude became Stretch Armstrong on that shit. He became Mr. Fantastic, the Plastic Man, all that shit, all rolled up in one. His arm went way over from New Orleans all the way around the world and came back on that one. That was a super stretch. that doesn't correlate to what's going on with the Saints and poor tackling, especially in the last game. Based on the film that I watched, the Saints basically fell apart in the second half, especially in the fourth quarter. And it wasn't because it was fundamental bad. They got manhandled, man. The Saints got destroyed in the fourth quarter. They got manhandled. They got their heart took from them and they soul stumped on. You can see it on the film. Demario Davis was out of position. They wasn't playing with the same intensity. It was plays when Demario dropped back into coverage. And I thought he was going to cover the area of the field the guy was running to. And then you watch the film, he way back there, barely running down the dude. And they were doing the same thing. Alante Taylor is a hell of a tackle. He chose to try to run into that guy with his shoulder. And you could see up the field, they just wasn't missing tackles. Tampa Bay had something to do with it too. You could see Tampa Bay shoving the Saints players on the field, shoving them on the ground, pushing their asses out of the way, and all of that. So, no, it didn't have nothing to do with no practice schedule because it would have mattered in weeks 1 and weeks 2. It only falls into Mickey Loomis's mindset when they losing, so he can excuse make. It won't work. What are the rest of the pathetic ass excuses you have?
The second thing is that there are teams that do a good job of tackling, and we have to be more focused on that. I think that we've been a good tackling team in the past, and so this has kind of cropped up this season and part of last season for us, and we've got to come up with answers for it. And you're right. It gets back to, hey, we have to have an emphasis on it, and we have to more of an emphasis on it because we have an emphasis on it, but we have to have more of an emphasis on it. It has to be at the forefront of players' minds and coaches' minds, forefront of players' we have to be more focused on that. I think that we've been a good tackling team in the past, and so this has kind of cropped up this season and part of last season for us, and we've got to come up with answers for it. And you're right. It gets back to, hey, we have to have an emphasis on it, and we have to more of an emphasis on it because we have an emphasis on it, but we have to have more of an emphasis on it. It has to be at the forefront of players' minds and coaches' minds. And so how do you do that? You spend more time in practice. You do drill work. More difficult during the regular season.
How could you spend more practice at it with Mickey when you just said the practice schedule forbids you from doing it? You see what I'm saying? See how much of a liar and politician he is? Boy, this dude need to be elected for a presidential situation. We got to have more emphasis on it, but we got an emphasis on it. We got to have more of an emphasis on it. And then say we got to practice at it. But didn't you just say that we couldn't do it because the NFL changed the practice rules? That's why we were stinking it up in the first place. Make it make sense. Thank you, Anthony, man. He says, fire Lewis, fire Allen. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you, man.
Thank you. Too kind.
Exactly, Pam. He talking in circles, but you let him wag his tongue. Because you know what they say, that old saying about an old tongue, letting the old tongue wag. And this is definitely an old dog. And it ain't no new tricks in him. Ain't no doubt about that. I'll tell you that much. It ain't no new tricks in this old dog. Let me tell you something. Now, let me tell you something, buddy. But this dude going crazy. None of this makes sense. We got to have more of an emphasis on it, but we got an emphasis on it. We got to have more of an emphasis on it. We just got to practice more at practice. But Mickey, you just said that the NFL schedules change on the practices is the reason why it originated. Well, I know what I said, goddammit. Who is this guy? Who is these questions and all these? Oh my God, here. Wow. No, just calm down. Drink your clam chowder, your orange juice, eat your clam chowder. Just crazy. This is clam chowder babble, man. This is absolutely ridiculous. Let's see what he finished.
Because, a lot of the time is spent, scheming and preparing for your opponent, but we do have to get back to some fundamental things because if we don't, we're just beating ourselves.
Mickey, how do you, I don't know, because fans ask me about how can we go kind of like from the penthouse to the outhouse. Everyone's ecstatic. We're getting off to a 2-0 start. We crushed Dallas. We crushed Carolina, and we crushed Dallas. And then, Dallas just got crushed by the Lions. Then all of a sudden, you go on a 4-game losing streak, and now we've lost 4 straight games the last time. That was Sean Payton's final season in 2021.
That's true.
So how important is this Thursday night game? The question I have for you, because I know Sean Payton wants to beat the Saints. And I know as an organization, we want to beat Sean Payton. So I don't know, you call it a grudge game, whatever, and you friends with Sean, everybody's friends. But, it's like when you compete with your brother, you want to kick your brother's ass. I mean, that's just the way it is. So come Thursday night, I think it counts more than just are we going to beat the Broncos or not. That this is something that you talk about years to come, because how many times you get to face off with people that you know and your friends.
Well, first of all, Bobby, there was a lot of questions in that speech you just gave. You asked me how to explain, 4 straight losses. And look, I think this because, right, game 1, game 2, man, we're rolling on all cylinders. I felt like we played pretty well in games 3 and 4, although we had a couple things that, the game against Philadelphia, look, we went toe-to-toe with them and had a really good chance to win that game at the end. And we just, we got in our own way. We had 2 guys running into each other and they got a big play and our opportunity to win and against Atlanta. Again, we came back from a couple of self-inflicted mistakes early in the game, came back, took the lead at the end, had a chance to close out the game, and we didn't do that. That happens in the National Football League. The last 2 games are different. And I think, listen, I don't like – everybody has injuries, right? We all do. And yet some injuries are more important than others. And when you have 3/5 of your offensive line unavailable to play, when you lose, some of the players we've lost on defense in terms of just the intelligence of our defense, and intelligence is the right word, but some of the leaders of our defense, not being at full strength or not playing.
Nah, you ain't joking. Nah, you first and foremost, the intelligence. Yeah, you lost a lot of intelligence. Because I was saying, if you watch the film, the inside the interior offensive line, they're not. When it comes down to run blocking, they are not a solid unit, and it looks like they put them together yesterday. If you watch it, it's the left guard and the center when they match up, right guard he messes up. Guy beats him. It's crazy. It's like the tape shows right guard, center do good, left guard screw up. And it's like those 3 guys just, jumble. They all take chances. Okay, who has the effed up hat? Yeah, you put it on now. It's crazy. That's why the offense, when they try to run the ball, they look so bad. I'm like, man, listen, running the football is supposed to be the easiest thing you do as a football team, really, like offensively speaking. When you talk about difficulties of running versus passing, most teams, good teams, decent teams, supposed to know how to run the ball in some capacity because it's a mano-a-mano situation. It's a one-on-one situation. Me versus that guy. You got your guy. And usually in most base situations, it's 5 of my linemen against 4 of your defensive linemen. That's how it is. Now, if you watch some of the film on some of these games, the Saints are not doing what they're supposed to do when they have those base looks. Like sometimes those guys are rare back in coverage. Every now and again, they'll send the blitz. They got Spencer Rattler. They're going to blitz you often because he's a rookie. They're going to show him they're going to show different looks at that defense, and they're going to blitz him from different sides. They're going to hit him often. Now, it's credit enough. The Saints did a pretty decent job of keeping Spencer upright, but when they come down and give him a running attack, they always seem to screw it up. Them guys are not winning the one-on-one matchups, especially if you doubling down on Vita Vea, and they were doubling down on Vita Vea. Sometimes I seen it wasn't. It's like, he's supposed to be double blocked all the time. And then if you beat the guy, like if you block your guy, you remove your guy, you're supposed to slide up to the next level of the defense, see if you can put a hand on that linebacker. Their linebackers was too much. They were pretty clean. They were able to peek around and see what's going on, follow the play, blitz if they wanted to. And that's why everything looks so funky and disjointed. And you watch Alvin Kamara, he can't get no flow like that. So if you can't run inside, you got to run outside. You got to, some kind of way, you got to conjure up the run. Now, we're talking about what Mickey Loomis is talking about with the injuries. Hell, listen, the Saints are dealing with a lot more injuries than most teams. They really are. Starting quarterbacks out, starting running backs banged up with multiple injuries. Wide receiver Olave is out with concussions. Rashid Shaheed could be done for the year. Who knows? And then you go to other aspects of the teams. They're dealing with a lot of injuries. The starting center is out. The right guard is out. The left guard is out. You got injuries, but there's nobody sitting up here playing the violin for you. Ain't nobody playing the sad violin for you, family. This was our plan for Mickey Loomis last night. For your ass. You hear that? That's called the sad violin. When they saying this. When Mickey Loomis is talking about injuries, this is what we doing. Right here. We playing this sad ass violin for him. We don't want to hear it, man. We don't want to hear it at all, man. We don't want to hear it. All we want to hear is you make the proper adjustments. We don't want to hear that. All you're doing is doing this. We're just, when you talking, oh wow, well, it's me. Hold on, let me do a little Mickey sadness for y'all, fam. Let me give y'all a little touch of this. Y'all want to listen to the rest of it, y'all can listen to on Patreon for it. Give y'all a little touch of Mickey Loomis. Oh my God. Oh my God. It's injuries, y'all. Let me tell you something. Oh, it's sad, such sad. Oh wow. Life is difficult. Oh my God. It's so lonely at the top. Oh, I'm so lonely. Oh, I am so lonely. I'll be a general manager. Let me tell you something here. It's so sad. Oh, people don't. They don't listen. You're so unqualified. You're so unqualified. I'm the VP. I'm the general manager. You're not qualified. But it's so lonely at the top. Let me tell you. You know what I'm saying? I gotta do something. Oh my God. It's tough being Mickey Loomis. It's so tough. It's so tough. Ow. Let me sing for you, if I please. I gotta go. It's too much because you guys are so unqualified and you're unsophisticated. I'm just sing to you right now. Can I sing? I want to sing. Ow. Oh, what are we doing here? I just don't understand. I'm so lonely. I'm so lonely. Oh, it's me. Oh, it's me. Oh, it's me. Oh my God. Oh, wow. Oh, it's me. Oh, I'm so lonely. Oh, you don't get it, guys. Oh my goodness, Mickey.
That catches up to you, and it really catches up to you when you're playing really good teams. And we've played two really good teams in the last 2 weeks. That caught up to us this last weekend. And look, I don't have any answers for 51 points being allowed, but those were good teams. But that's where we're at. And we've got an opponent coming in on Thursday night on a short week. It's not a revenge game. You know, sometimes you play against a team you were with and you have bitter or angry feelings about that team. You want to beat them because of that. That's not this game with Sean. Sean loved his time here with the Saints. He has love for the city and the organization. But you're right. It's like playing against your brother. You know, you want to beat him, and we feel the same way. And so it'll be a dogfight. He'll pull out all the stops, and we have to be prepared for that.
Your overall assessment of Spencer Rattler, he was 22 of 40, 243, sacked 5 times, had the touchdown to his rookie, Bub Means, had the 2 interceptions. And after the fumble to Olave, I'm sure because the defense had given up the early touchdown, I'm sure he's going, what in the world? It's 14-0. He'd barely been on the field. Your overall assessment, because I would assume in a short week, not a whole lot is going to change from a Derek Carr situation. So your thoughts on Spencer?
Yeah, I thought it was a good first outing for him. And more so from the standpoint of, I thought he was poised. He kept his composure. Things weren't going our way early, and it's easy to, try to do too much. And yet I felt like he stayed within the offense, made some plays, both with his legs and his arm. And I thought it was really encouraging overall. I thought that, they made some, I mentioned this, they made some adjustments at halftime and did a lot of bringing pressure and so that made it more difficult in the second half, particularly when you get behind like that and you have to throw it every down. But I thought it was a good outing. I thought our offensive coaches did a really good job of designing the game plan that took advantage of his skill set, and we're looking for more development, more growth in this next game.
Mickey, when I look at Coach Allen, and I've always taken up for Coach Allen as far as know both sides of the ball. Like Sean Payne's an offensive coach. The coach I had, Jim Morrow's a defensive coach. Coach Allen's a defensive coach. But what sucks are kind of, that ain't good, is when you're in charge of the defense and all of a sudden they're struggling. And then Coach Allen, who calls the Saints defensive plays, that's his baby. And he said, and he held himself accountable, have to do a better job with our guys and have to make sure we understand what we're doing. And he went on and on. But that's why the fans get disgruntled. That was supposed to be our strength of our team. And as of late, our defense sucks. Now, we're outstanding red zone defense, which is number one in the league. We're only giving up 25% as far as touchdown production. But then the Bucs were like 4 or 5, 80%. That's why a lot of fans say, well, at least we could count on our defense keeping us in games. But it seems like that has not been the case as of late. If that's supposed to be Coach Allen's wheelhouse, boy, but where are we trending right now if our defense is going to struggle?
I mean, you're right in terms of, look, our defense has struggled the last couple of weeks in particular, and that's not up to our standard. Look, I think it's easy to look at the last game or the last two games and say this is what we are, but I think you have to look at a longer period, for that. And we've been able to play really good defense for a long period of time.
A long period from when? We don't care about last year, bro. This year, the Saints defense has been awful. It has been awful. And listen, it wasn't a fast thing. It was a slow slide into hell. It really was. But I seen it, and I was telling the family members. I was like, fam, listen, I don't like what's going on. The Saints are susceptible to the draw. I was telling them during the play action. I mean, the play-by-play streams, the watch parties. I was like, fam, I don't like this. I noticed right away what was going on. I'm like, man, the Saints, when people find out that the Saints are susceptible to interior rushing, we're gonna be in trouble. And that's what Tampa Bay did. It took us a while. You see what Saquon Barkley did to the Saints. Well, that's Saquon Barkley. It was a test cue. Like, nah, Saquon got the bulk of that yardage in the second half. When strong runners get going in the second half, if you got a guy that's a power runner or a north-south thumper back, the second half is when he's supposed to get going because defenses get a little tired and they don't want to tackle those type of guys. That's why Saquon Barkley had a chunk of yardage. Same thing happened in the Atlanta game with Tyler Algieri. They were hitting at the Saints in the first half, but a lot of that came in the second half when those north-south downhill runners really get funky. The defense don't want to tackle those guys that much because it's they get a little tired. And then you've seen it start happening over there. But see, the bottom falls out is Tampa Bay did not have a starting level running back that did that to you. The guy that ran for 100 and whatever it was yardage, 114, whatever it was, I forgot it already because it was ridiculous. The two running backs that put chunk yardage on you were two backup running backs. Bucky Irvin is the second stringer, and the other guy is the third stringer. The third string running back did that to the Saints. The third string running back, they wasn't even using that guy like that. That guy came in there and ran all over the Saints defense in the second half. You're going to talk about slide, man. Imagine what Barkley would have done. If he was in the game, he would have put up 200 yards rushing by himself. So like I said, man, it was a slow slide to hell. I seen it. They couldn't stop the interior rush. It happened from all of the losing games. You've seen it happen to a fact. And I was pointing it out when it started. I was like, man, I don't like that. And it happened. Anyway, let's get back to him.
But we haven't played really good defense the last 2 weeks, for sure. And so why is that? Well, you can't win a game. The first thing about winning a game is you've got to avoid beating yourself, right? And how do we beat ourselves? Well, we don't tackle well. We get penalties. We do some things that are, I think, are uncharacteristic of the teams that we've had in the past. So we've got to solve that first. We've got to solve the self-inflicted wounds. part of that is playing complementary football too, and not turning the ball over on your
You
side
said
of the
that
field.
already.
Controlling offensively, controlling the clock a little bit so that we keep our defense off the field, particularly when you get shorthanded. So those are the things that we have to solve, and we've got a short period of time to solve them.
Now,
This dude here, man, don't have an idea what the hell he's talking about. He's saying a bunch of platitudes that most people say. Yeah, but we know what we're looking at. How do you fix it? But the thing is, the question is, he's just the general manager, right? He's Dennis's boss. Dennis Allen, head coach of the Saints' boss. Is Mickey Loomis having a conversation with Dennis Allen about turning this around? Is he putting any pressure on Dennis Allen to make changes? Is he? What do you think? You get what I'm saying? Is he putting any pressure on him? By these comments, I don't think Mickey Loomis, because it's not his personage or his character type to put any pressure on Dennis Allen, because he believes he can't make mistakes. Like I showed Peyton, I pick Coach Peyton. I picked Coach Peyton. Peyton's here because of me, Bucko. But he picks Dennis Allen, and Dennis Allen's going to be like Sean Payton. No. That's in his mind. He thinks that. Like, how do you not look at Dennis Allen and see he's not a Sean Payton type coach? He's a beta male. He can't even motivate his team properly. They're in a hole right now, and it takes a lot to pull yourself out of a hole. It really does. It's a game by game approach. But he just doesn't have it, man. He took a job that is not right for his character type, especially if you're a backstabby, underhanded, weaselly of a person like he is. And to do like I said, and I've had many examples of the backstabby shit he did. He did it with Jameis. He's doing it with Spencer right now. Well, Spencer's starting right now, Q. That's until Derek Carr gets back. Then Spencer Rattler would turn into the third string quarterback again. He turned Jake Hayner into a buffer quarterback to stop the stardom that Spencer Rattler's had from affecting Derek Carr. Because if he starts throwing interceptions, they're gonna start booing his ass and saying Rattler, Rattler, Rattler. And he was like, oh, I can't have that. He played the game. That's off code. If the guy won a job, he's supposed to be the backup quarterback, the second stringer, not the emergency quarterback that you leapfrog when your starting quarterback is out. Don't you? That's you don't do that. If I see it, them players see that, and they work their asses off fighting for the job. They earned the job. You don't do that, man. You don't do them guys that, man. You're supposed to be somebody's head coach, for God's sakes. How do you even look yourself in the face in the mirror like that? How do you do it? A guy like that, a person like that ain't gonna make it, man. You think you climbing, but all you doing is creating a hell for yourself. And eventually the universe is gonna rip your ass down off of that anyway and expose you for the fraud that you are. Because that's what it does. People think they can whip the game, beat the rules, and they can't. All they do is curse themselves and open themselves up to the punishment to be held out visually so everybody can see that they're a fraud. Dennis Allen is a fraud. We've known that when he came here, he's a fraud. He doesn't have the tools to be a championship head coach. We have a very talented team. He picked all of these guys. He picked the defensive guys. He picked the offensive guys. But if Dennis Allen picks the Clint Kubiak to be his guy, which wasn't a dumb move, but it requires you to put pressure on Clint Kubiak. Making sure you got the right weapons, make sure you got a good depth on the offensive line. And if the guys are not doing what they're supposed to do, get them goddamn guys out of here and bring in more guys. And keep doing it till you find the right collection of guys till we get to winning. Because 4-game losing streaks is a major indicator that something is terribly wrong on your team. You're not supposed to be losing 4 games. You lost 2 games, 3 games, 4 games in a row. 4-game losing streaks is a dashboard light telling you that something is terribly wrong with your team. You see how the Saints defense they've fallen through the floor right now. They got crushed by Tampa in the second half, and they quit on them. I said it during the game. That's what that was you seen when them guys running around like that. They running all over them, pushing them around. They know what it is. I played football and I know what it is, man. I know what I seen. So how do they rebound on the short week? You'll see. And Mickey Loomis is just going to keep spinning these excuses.
Mickey, when I look at, everybody gets old, Father Time, you look at all that. But fans have asked me, they say, boy, Cam Jordan.
Now, see, I thought he was going to go somewhere else with this one. I thought he was going to go somewhere, but boy, he turned that corner quick. I thought Bobby Abel was about to ask, like, go ahead, ask him. Go ahead and ask him. Talk to him about it. He turned right to Cam. I was like, oh, hold on. People saying that you're too old for the job, Mickey. The game done passed you by. That's what I thought he was going to do. Listen to it again.
Now, Mickey, when I look at, everybody gets old, Father Time, you look at all that. But fans have asked me, they say, boy, Cam Jordan really looks old. Sometimes you might say it's getting rid of a player a year.
Cam Jordan, the goddamn backup, man. What you talking about? I think he lost the will to ask him. Y'all get that? Did you catch that? Dude, he was about to ask him, hey, man, the fans say, because every time he say the fans say it's going to be an unpopular opinion that Mickey Loomis doesn't like. Because if it's something that's not offensive, he ain't going to use the fan term. He only throw the fans in it or the listeners or whatever you want to call them in it. So it knows directly where it's coming from. So don't be mad at me. But you turn around and throw it at Cam. Cam is not even a true starter. Cam's basically a rotational guy. So we're going to say, oh, that old Cam Jordan looked pretty old. He's got to be the problem. It ain't Cam Granderson and Chase Young. Oh, Cam Jordan. No, brother. Ask this question again, man.
Fans have asked me, they say, boy, Cam Jordan really look. But Mickey, when I look at, everybody gets old, Father Time, you look at all that.
Yeah, come on.
But fans have asked me, they say, boy, Cam Jordan really looks old. Sometimes you might say it's better to get rid of him a year too early than a year too late. But then even as of late, Demario Davis. And look, he's not the typical Demario Davis season. Now you're dealing with injury, whatever, the older you get. And, he's always hit that century mark as far as tackles. But I don't know if I've ever witnessed a game that the top 5 tacklers in our game against Tampa Bay were all DBs. Well, hell yeah, if it's all DBs.
That's what, and you're right, bro. He says, John says Cam called it straight. You're right. Because how do you? I would have believed it if he would have said Demario Davis, because Demario Davis has more of an impact on the current Saints defense than Cam Jordan does. It's basically Carl Granderson and Chase Young out there the majority of the time. Now you'll see Cam getting there in relief duty. They put him on the inside. You'll see him in there when guys need a breath. But Cam Jordan's not a big factor on the defense no more. I would have believed that turn if he put Demario at first, because yes, that last game, Demario Davis has shown his age, especially in that Tampa Bay game. He looked old in that game. He looked old, but that boy turned the corner real quick on that one. I thought he set it up. Hey man, the fans was talking about such and such. The game, and I thought he's gonna say, man, he about to ask Mickey Loomis about the game passing them by. Come on, Cam Jordan. Oh, I was like, oh shit. Damn it, Bobby.
You're going to give up 270-something yards rushing, like Adebo, Lattimore, Howden, Abram, Alante Taylor. And then it wasn't until you get Demario Davis and Willie Gay after that. And I think it also starts right up front. We want Chase Young to get sacks and all that, but I think it leaves a lot to be desired as far as his run support. I think Brian Brzee has gotten better, but also his run support. I think teams feel like right now, and I think in Sean and Denver, they're going to come in here feeling they can run against us.
Hell yeah, they can run.
Look, a lot of what you said is there's some truth to it. Teams are going to try to run on us until we prove that they can't. And, that's incumbent upon the players and coaches in our organization to come up with answers for that. So you're not wrong, but I also think this. I think that, first of all, you don't ever want your leading tacklers to be your DBs. I agree with that 100%. That's not a good sign. But I also think this too. We want players that are tough, right? And we want players that'll go out there even when they're not feeling great, when they're a little banged up or a lot banged up. And I think there's some guys on the field that are banged up and they're tough. They're playing through it. but maybe they're not quite as capable as they would be if they were fully healthy. So we've got to overcome that, right? That's just part of being part of the National Football League. But you said it, we've got to play better defense. We've got to find a way to stop the run, and it's incumbent upon each person to look at themselves and say, hey, I can play better.
So, Mickey, a twofer here. When was the last time you talked to Sean Payton? What was the conversation about?
Who cares,
and then talk about Kendre Miller and his opportunity to get back on the football field for Thursday.
Oh, gosh, when was the last time I talked to Sean?
That's a good question to take the smoke off of Mickey Loomis, because Bobby Hebert was keeping it right where it needed to be. And as you can hear, these are not any real answers that you wouldn't hear from Mickey Loomis on any situation that we got to play better. Of course, they know we got to play better. These basic elementary answers. There's no in-depth, no real stuff saying, hey, listen, we're proactively right now going over practice squads. We're trying to see if we can find talent to help us win so we can break this losing streak. None of that talk. His standpoint is we're going to just stand pat and just see if we can endure the injuries with our current people. That's what that's the talking point, and if there's no game breaking trades, when people say, Q, we got to go get Adams, I'm like, Adams is not going to happen for the Saints because the contract is messed up. Well, who's behind them? They had other guys out there. There are other wide receivers you can look at. Saints says, Dante Pettis. Like, who? Dante Pettis. Well, you wanted a wide receiver, you got one. Dante Pettis. So, I mean, they just going to stand back. So, I mean, like I said, man, it's just going to be interesting, man. I'm looking forward to this.
We talked about some of the things that, that we've seen around the league. It wasn't, it was just kind of a check-in call. Nothing earth-shattering or anything like that. We didn't talk at all about the upcoming game. Yeah, that it wasn't anything earth-shattering. That's for sure. Kendre, yeah, look, we're excited about him getting healthy and maybe having an opportunity to contribute to us in the next few weeks. So look, he's a talented player. He hasn't been able to stay on the field and get on the field because of some soft tissue things primarily. But he's ready to roll right now, and I like his progress.
Now, Mickey, if you put your head on the pillow, it's Saturday night before the Sunday game.
Boy, you got to watch Mike Hoss. He a ringer. Mike Hoss asked a soft question to pull the heat off, and Bobby Hebert, credit to him, he stayed right on it. He went right back to Mickey and kept it on him. So shout out to Bobby Hebert. And Mike Hoss is a ringer, man. He tried to throw a softball question to distract the conversation, but Bobby Hebert aimed right back on him. Good for him.
And if you would have had a dream, and this dream is reality, that we're playing Atlanta and they're not going to score an offensive touchdown, I think you would take that, hell yeah, we're going to win the game. And then you look at what occurred yesterday. We get 3 interceptions and we run back a punt for a touchdown. You're not supposed to lose those kind of games. I mean, I was like shocked. If you just told me that that's what occurred in the game, I'd be like, man, what the hell happened? How did we lose that? Now, does that come to coaching? I mean, because you have those things that you think that definitely that's a winning formula to win, but you got to close the deal. Like, okay, you look at the Chiefs. They might be winning ugly, but they close out the games. And then we've been in situations, and the Eagles and the Chiefs. The Eagles needed a touchdown. We couldn't close them out. We playing good defense. And then you look at too many times, and even Atlanta not being able to close out games. But just looking what occurred then and what we did as far as taking away the football, are you getting like a special teams touchdown? Come on, you can't afford to lose those games, because that could be the difference whether you get to double-digit wins or not.
Yeah, I think what you're getting at here is that, and you want to get your team to the point where you expect to win, because when you expect to win and you have those things that can happen that don't go your way, they're just little speed bumps that you cruise right over, right? Because you have confidence and you have a lot of players that believe they're going to make a big play, when it counts. And when you hope to win, and I think most teams are in that position of where they hope to win, those speed bumps become little mountains. And so we have, our goal is obviously to get to the point where we're expecting to win. And I felt like then we were moving that direction after the first 2 or 3 weeks, right? And then we've had some adversity. We've had, like I said, we've had a lot of injuries, a lot of guys missing that are key players, playmakers for us. And, we weren't able to close out those two games, Atlanta and Philadelphia. So we got to get back to that. We know we have a good team. We know we do. And we're confident in that. But we have to weather this storm and weather these weeks where we're not at full strength, and we have to find a way to be competitive, and find ways to win games. And again, that starts with not beating ourselves, right? Getting back to fundamentals. We got to coach better. We got to play better, and I believe we will.
Well, Mickey, I'm looking. We plus.
Coach better, win better. Coach better, win better. Okay. I don't see it, man. I don't see it, and there is no track record to prove any otherwise. We won 9 games last year. 9 games in a non-playoff year is still considered a loss by my measurement, because the reality is you're doing it for the playoffs, not for the accomplishment of a coach that systematically, historically speaking, has had nothing but losses. His first winning season as a coach, he hadn't accomplished anything as far as who that nation is concerned. We don't care about that. We want playoffs. You win in the regular season to go to the playoffs, to have an opportunity to compete for a chance to go into the Super Bowl. That's what we care about. I don't want to hear about the injuries. Every year it's the same stuff. They even tell you it's all about the injuries during the middle of the season. When they start the season off, they all tell you it's, well, we don't let injuries use as an excuse. And every damn year they do this. They do the same hypocritical nonsense over and over again. Then give you the disclaimer that every team deals with injuries, which means that you cannot use it as an excuse. Now, the Saints have been dealing with a lot of injuries. This is true, but that is why there's a thing called a depth chart. And it is up to Mickey Loomis. It's his stinking job to scour the practice squads, free agency, and possible trade market to find players to come in here to help the Saints win games. That's his job. He's basically telling you that we're going to stand pat and try to weather the storm. On a 4-game losing streak, by the way, where your 2 adversaries are 4-2, and they got a couple games on you. Another loss drops you further in the hole with Dennis Allen, who's not capable of coaching you out of a hole. He's not made for that. So at the end of the day, this guy here doesn't have any answers. He's an arrogant idiot who is ultimately going to sit here and let this team crash into an iceberg. He refuses to see what this is. And it ain't even hard to tell, man. It's not even hard to tell. Crazy and sick and twisted, all in the same thing.
+3 in the turnover margin. And, that's why it's shocking to me. Even last season, we were a +11. You look at scoring, offense, and defense. I'm like, how in the hell we didn't get to 10 wins? That's why I still emphasize, to me.
And Bob Abel doing a fantastic job of telling this fool the statistics, giving them the stats, and it goes in one ear out of the other. He telling them the stats. Listen, here it is. This is what I think, and here goes the stats to go along with it. Here's one half, here's the other half. So you don't even have to think. He basically foolproofing it, giving you the game. And this guy here, he refuses to take it.
Me, and is that that you have to look at the head coach, is that we're not closing out games. We're highly competitive, but it's a bottom line business. Did you win or did you lose the game? That's why I think fans are frustrated, because you could be so close and so far, and you might say there's not much difference between 10 and 7 and 7 and 10. But if you're 7 and 10, the Who Dat Nation is restless, and then but if you're 10 and 7, then everybody's ecstatic. But the bottom line is you have to win. It's not like, oh, we're competing hard and playing hard. That it's a bottom line business. You have to win, and it's not just we're in the hunt, we playing hard and all that. You got to win.
It's good. He threw a touchdown on that one. He talking truth to power all over the place. He telling him what he knows. He's basically he used the fan thing again. He threw out all the support base out here. This is what they're saying, and they are speaking the truth. They're telling them stuff that's fundamental cardinal principles of an NFL successful organization and head coach. You don't use excuses, as an excuse. You know what I mean? Y'all know what I mean. Injuries as an excuse. You don't do that. If there are injuries going on to your team, you're supposed to go and find the personnel. There's players everywhere. Go and scour the practice squads, free agency, trade market. Find players that help you. Get rid of players that are not doing their jobs. Get rid of them because they're not winning their matchups, and you don't have time for this. You're on a 4-game lose. He let 4 games happen, and he's still not doing nothing. Dennis Allen could very well lose this game, and I'm picking him to lose this game tomorrow because I don't believe they get the running attack going. Because I don't think that the guys they have inside of that offensive line are competent enough, interiorly speaking. No disrespect to Tolly or Penning. I think Tolly and Penning are doing all right. But in terms of Penning, a couple of games ago, he kind of didn't look all that good, but they're all right. Let's just say that. But these interior guys that just did, man, we got to do better than that. We can't sit here and let this happen. You got to find better talent to help you run until you get these other guys back. And when you get your guys back, you have those new guys that are working, plus the starters back, make your team better. Commonsensical stuff. A-Bell laying it out. Let's finish it up, man.
6, 7, 8 coaches get fired every year,
right?
Because they don't win and people want changes. And so we already got one coach fired in New York. That didn't surprise me with the Jets, how they are. And they always been dysfunctional. But every year, everybody wants to win, but everybody can't win. So 6, 7, 8 coaches get fired. And that could be the difference. Come back to haunt you when you don't finish games to have a chance to be in the postseason and get the double-digit wins.
Yeah, I mean, look, everything you say is accurate. Results matter; they do. But I think one of the things that I think good organizations do is that, man, you look beyond the results. What's the reason for the result? And
hey, idiot, what are you talking about? Look behind the results. See, this is the man. Just listen to what he just gave him. Listen to what he just gave him. He gave him history. He gave him stats. He gave him a nearby recent history to plug to. He gave him cardinal information that is not disputable. It is non-disputable. The things that he talked about, this is a results-driven league. You have to win. It doesn't matter this, doesn't matter that. He laid it all out in front of him, and this guy comes back and tell you, look beyond the results. What the hell does that mean? What results? What results are you supposed to look beyond? The only result that matters now is the team is on a 4-game losing streak in 2 games behind its division rivals who are currently sharing the lead in the NFC South. What is he supposed to look past? What results are you supposed to look beyond? The results that you're getting right now are negative results. How are you looking behind? You have to. What are you talking about, man? I told y'all this guy is out of his mind, man. This guy's unfit to be the general manager of a football team. Talking like this. This is unintelligible. What results are you supposed to look behind? You're motivating us to look beyond the losing results. I'm gonna tell you what results he wants you to look behind. He wants you to look beyond the fact that Dennis Allen is not a good head coach. That the Saints team is falling through the floor before your very eyes. You got injuries abound, and injuries will not protect the Saints organization. He's going to try to spin it to try to protect Dennis Allen. There is no result except for the losing that's going on currently. You can't look beyond the losing. You must look at the losing and fix it. That's the only way adults and successful people deal with problems. We don't pretend they're not there in hopes that they go away. Like I said before, when you do stuff like that, if you don't deal with trauma don't go away, especially spiritual, mental trauma. It doesn't go away. It metastasizes. It sit there, and in certain cases, like we talked about on the show the other day, it becomes like if it's trauma inside of your mind, it ultimately becomes another personality. It becomes a problem. You don't bury your problems in the hopes that they go away. That's what society and all this other crap taught us. That's not how we deal with it. To be functional human beings, we have to be able to deal with our issues, no matter how uncomfortable they are. We have to deal with them. We have to stare them down. We have to come up with an answer. We must solve them, and then we conquer them. Then they disappear. That's how it works. The therapists, the psychologists, all of them tell you the same shit. And if you can't come up with the answer, seek professional help. Find somebody that can help you get the resources that you need. This guy here is in denial of everything. This dude here is not good. He's not GMing in a state of mind of logic. He's sitting up here telling you that they're going to sit here and weather the storm with the injuries, which means he ain't gonna make no big moves. They will ultimately coach better, and we're gonna win. This idiot don't even realize what's going on. This guy is incompetent, and it is foolish, and it is back ass. It's ridiculous, man. Yes, I was saying that Sean Payton made these guys look better than what they are. Sean Payton made these guys, all of them, look better than what they are. All of them. He made Mickey Loomis because Mickey Loomis does not get involved. He hires a coach and he leaves you alone because he got the VP job to do. He goes smash his ass doing whatever he do, and Kai Hartley do a lot of the contracts and the GM work. He got several other general managers that he hired. He got the old goddamn Raiders general manager working for the Saints now. He hired Mueller, the former general manager, and he basically contracting out the duties of the general manager position to different people. All of that so he don't give up the power of the general manager position, because it's a visual position that requires him to sit his ass in front of the camera or answer the phone when he needs to, because he got a contract with WWL. He got to answer, had to talk to him every week. Saints do anyway. So this is your problem. You're looking at the problem right here. It's not so much as Dennis Allen, because Dennis Allen is representative of Mickey Loomis. There would be no Dennis Allen if it wasn't for Mickey Loomis. There wouldn't be a Derek Carr if it wasn't for Mickey Loomis. Mickey Loomis is the problem with the Saints. We've been saying this for a while. He's incompetent. Look beyond the results. So don't look at the funk and the stank and the nasty losing, the trifling ass football that we've been saying the Saints doing. Don't look at that. Look beyond that and listen to what I'm telling you to do, which is we're going to weather the storm. We're not going to make any moves. We're going to sit back and do this. This is my damn team. And I'm not going to let you guys tell me nothing. And notice how Abel was coming at him. So he knows with your thinking. I don't care what they think. I don't care. I listen here. Let me tell you something. I don't care what they think. I don't ask them for advice. And I say all this stuff and it sounds funny, but a lot of this stuff I'm telling y'all is what he says. He said that. Oh, I don't listen to you. I don't listen to the asses. Why would I get advice from you? He said, why would I get advice? He called you unsophisticated. He said the reporting was lazy when they were criticizing this coach because they were losing. So any decisions that you go up against Mickey Loomis that he doesn't like, that's what he does. He then returns insults and tries this type of rhetoric. Look beyond the results. So look beyond the facts and the stats of a 4-game losing streak team that's about to lose the 5th game in a row. You think he's going to do anything about it? You think he's going to change anything? This dude ain't going to bat an eye until you make him. And it won't be you making him. It'll be Benson. It'll be Gail Benson and Dennis Lauscher, because those people looking at the books, and the moment they start seeing them numbers dropping, they're going to hold on now. Hold on, Mickey. This is my team. This is my team. I refuse to let these guys tell me what to do. And like I said, Abel telling them what the people are saying. He told them, hey, the fans believe this. That's what he was saying. That's what he said. So he knows where the line of question is going, because Bobby Hebert is telling him where this line of question is coming from, because he ain't going to let it stick on him, because Mickey Loomis will be mad at Bobby Hebert. That's why Bobby Hebert got to say it like that. That's how petty that guy is. I goddamn Bobby Hebert, man. He asked me some tough questions. Let me tell you. He tried to put me on the spot. I know. And so, he has to craft his questions in a way where he doesn't insult Mickey Loomis because he's thin-skinned. He's thin-skinned, very thin-skinned. So this is what you got here. This is your problem. Look beyond the result.
How do you fix the reasons that keep you from winning? And it's not always about the head coach.
What's it about then? It's not all. He's right in part here. It's not always about the coach. It's his stinking ass. It ain't always about the coach. And then
Sometimes it is, but it's not always about that. It's about a lot of different variables. A lot of things are involved in winning and winning a particular game or winning.
Enough of this clown, man. Yeah, this clown, man. Enough of this buffoon, man. But it's a laugh and a half, but you know who the problem is. That's all I got to tell y'all. Y'all know who the problem is. It doesn't make any sense. One way or another, you look at the team that's currently facing a four-game losing streak. 4 games. Facing 5 games. And this guy talking about it don't matter. Well, it's not. Or you can't always look at the coach. Sometimes you can, but sometimes you can't. It's a different variables and all this. What are you talking about? That means he ain't looking nowhere. He ain't talking to the coach. It ain't my damn fault that they're on the 4-game losing streak. Who runs the goddamn team if it's not the coach's fault, asshole? Who runs the team? The head coach does. Anything that goes right or wrong with that falls on the responsibility of that, falls squarely on the shoulders of the head coach of that football team. What are you talking about? It falls on the head coach. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it is. No, it's the head coach's fault. He's doing something wrong. He's not head coaching well. He's not doing this. He's not going over here. Something's wrong with his team because all of those coaches and players are under his supervision. But what this interview is showing you is he'll do every and anything to ignore facts. He'll ignore stats. He'll ignore everything, including his own stanky, rotten, back-ass coach. He'll do everything he can to protect this man. And you see where Dennis Allen gets it from to go and try to protect Derek Carr. You see what I'm saying? These are off-code morons, man. You don't expect none of these guys to have any epiphanies, man. Because this dude is operating out of emotion and not even using logic, because none of the stuff he said in his interview even make any sense. All of this is basic platitudes that everybody knows. And he contradicts himself several times in this same stupid-ass interview. He contradicted, well, you have to understand, the practice period now. Well, they're practicing, not to mention you go and watch everybody's stats. The entire NFC South is winning games. The 4-2 is the baddest, the worst record in the NFC South right now. I mean, the NFC North. The worst record is 4-2. Chicago and all of them got winning records. The worst record's 4-2. How is that impacting them? So we have the right to practice, but that shit wasn't happening in the first 2 weeks. That didn't affect them in the first 2 weeks. Then comes back and says, we got to practice more. How are you going to practice more? And according to you, the rules to practice, they done cut it down where you can't practice, stupid. So this dude is just making up stuff. He's spinning word salad. He's a liar. And he's totally governing the team out of emotion as opposed to logic. So whatever you try to throw at him in terms of logic, he'll just excuse make. And what's going to end up happening is Dennis Allen's going to crash and burn, and he's going to try to protect him. And hopefully he attaches himself to him a little more so that when Dennis Allen falls, he takes his rotten ass with him. And what I mean by that is, listen, man, when you pull the money away, things got to change. The Saints organization is going in the wrong direction because of bad leadership. It's not Gail Benson or Dennis Lauscher, because they've advocated the power of the guidance of the team over to Mickey Loomis, who is a dinosaur, who's beyond his time. Now, a smart man would keep the VP job and hire a general manager that can operate a more younger player, or person rather, who can handle the modern NFL, and let him pick his people and then just do your thing. But he can't do that because he's an attention whore. He wants all of the accolades, but none of the blame. That's not how this goes. So when everything goes right and exact, he wants all of the praise. But when it doesn't, this is the kind of dude that get up here and tell people you're unqualified and all this kind of stuff to talk about his decisions, his bad decisions, because it's not a good decision. So in time, y'all know who to point y'all targets at. You know who to aim your blame at. It's Mickey flipping Loomis. And I already said, and I well documented, and I said how to fix the Saints organization because they need to remake the whole thing. If Gail Benson's the owner, I said this over and over again. If Gail Benson's the owner, she can keep ownership there, but you need more high IQ football people on the Saints side. Dennis Lauscher, who's the president of football operations, needs to be rebranded, and the president's job needs to be removed from him. Rebrand his job to make him the assistant chief financial officer, which is he is under Gail Benson, but has nothing to do with the football decisions of the team. And we hire an actual football president who's a former player that played at a high level, who went through the NFL executive program. They have those all the time. You hire him as the president, he becomes Mickey Loomis's boss. That's another high IQ football person in the building. You take the general manager position and strip it from Mickey Loomis and give it to Kai Hartley. That's another high football person in the building. That way, what we just did was we just corrected the Saints' antiquated current system, where we moved Lauscher, who has no football acumen on the ground, who's a businessman, and created a assistant CFO position under Gail that has nothing to do with football on the field, and actually give the president position to an actual guy who does know, who's over Mickey, and strip Mickey, let him keep the VP job, strip him of the general manager job by giving it to Kai Hartley. Right there, I just solved and made them modern. Now, how hard does that sound? You got a young general manager that's knows the NFL game. He can go pick his own coach. And then you can be about the business of turning the Saints around and making them relevant again, because this is not working. Throwing a bunch of money at bad decisions is not going to end well. So anyway, like I said, man, that's the best I can do for the Saints, man. That's the best I can do. Because none of this make any sense. This interview didn't make any sense, and he's excuse making, and there's no need to even talk about him or talk to him, because he can't be reached because he's emotional. This dude is basically he's Carl Thomas right now. He's so emotional. It's so emotional. He can't be none of this is logical. None of this make any sense. Even when the man tried to approach him with logical stats and gave him recent history and talk about football principles, all that shit went in one ear and out the other, which means he ain't even listening to that. I'm going to do what I want to do. This is my team. No, it's not your team. This is our team, chump. And at some point, I'm going to get enough of these who-dats out here to shut that shit down. I'm going to keep talking at it, keep motivating it, and my message will get out there. And I'm going to get enough of these who-dats to shut you down. Enforce the change. You can't compete with all of us. You don't have the power to compete with us. So if you want to make it like that, come on. I welcome it, because I'm not going to stop my message. We're going to get this change happening in the Who Dat Nation, or we're going to take this money. We're going to shut this shit down all the way to the best of our ability. I promise you that. He's so wretched. Remember, the brother tried to get the billboard. The Saints was the ones that went and paid the people or offered the money. Now, this is, they saying unofficial, but some group popped up and said that remember the brother was trying to get the billboard? They had a rich donor popped up, said they'll pay for it all the way. Some kind of way the Saints got involved there, and they couldn't even get the billboard. The price went up double. They was going to put that billboard right over there right off of Airline to fire Dennis Allen, and they stopped that. So he let you know off top, I'm going to do whatever I want to do. Now, think about that now. Think about that shit. Them people did that. They did that shit to stop a billboard from going up to fire Dennis Allen. This is war, man. Mickey Loomis thinking that this is his team. He really do. It's my team. I do whatever I want. I don't listen to you. Well, guess what? I know you can't pay for all them tickets. I know you can't pay for that high-ass concessions food that the nachos and all that shit up in there. I know you can't do that. You can't pay all the salaries of them people up in there. You can't pay for the parking revenue. I know that for a fact. You really won't play with the Who Dat Nation? It's about time we chastise these people, fam. It's time for the Saints to get a really good financial spanking about right now. When he talking like this, only one answer for this in my book. And I'm going to keep talking, man. I'm going to keep spreading my message. Sooner or later, I get enough Who Dats, man, where we get this dude right. We'll get you right. Because money talk, bullshit walk, bottom line. And if anything, we bringing the money. We've been bringing the money. Man, you going to understand who you playing with in the Who Dat Nation. We ain't some stupid ass people out here where you can just talk and act reckless too and think we're going to keep on supporting you, man. You got us all twisted out here, man. We different. This is a different breed here in this era. Maybe back in the day we might have some people thinking like that, but we not supporting nothing that's not respecting our mind and turning out an inferior product like this. They're not even trying to go out and find people to change things around. It's not hard. These offensive linemen in the interior are not playing well, man. You go get other people and keep trying and getting other people until you get a different result. I'm not going to sit up here and keep blaming and saying we're going to wait for McCoy to come back. By the time McCoy come back, you wait for McCoy and any of these other players, the season could be over with. It could be 7 games in a hole. You know, so we're going to wait for this. No, we ain't waiting for nobody. We got to win. We got to win. We're not guaranteed anything. We got to win from week to week. Who's to say if McCoy comes back, something else might happen? You're not guaranteed none of that. You have to react and do what you got to do. You got to get players and people in here to change it around, and this guy ain't doing that, man. I ain't going to do it. I'm going to sit on my ass. I ain't doing that. We're going to just wait until, no, we ain't going to do no waiting. We ain't going to do no waiting. And the man said, Nick Underhill said that, and I believe him because I believe him about Mickey Loomis too. Like, man, I've been around these people. I know how they think. Well, I ain't been around them, and I know how they think, Nick. I've been knew how they think, man. It ain't hard to tell when you're looking at these people. You listen to them as much as I did. It's called pattern recognition, my friend. I've been talking this way about Mickey Loomis, been knowing who Dennis Allen is, and Sean Payton, all these people, man. $20 nachos, right? Yeah, 20. Y'all thought it was a game. I'm telling y'all, man, $20 nachos, man. We went down. I took my boys down there. We went down there, man. I was like, are you shitting me, man? How much is this stuff? Man, you got to be kidding me. And them people don't even pay rent on them buildings. You going to let them talk to you and act like that, man? The hell with that, man. I done had enough, man. Gary, I'm with you, Q, on that. But enough is enough, man. How much we going to take in this stuff, man? Like in our football, man, we use it as a release for everything that's going on. It got to reach a fever pitch. Now, listen, fam. A lot of times people, and this happened back in the day with the civil rights movement, a lot of people didn't move because they were scared. They was afraid they was going to lose their job if they were seen doing something, stuff like that. There was a fear that was involved with the non-activity. You got what I'm saying? But at some point, you get so frustrated and so turned off about the whole damn thing that whatever the fear was, it don't mean shit based on how the feeling that you have about that. At some point, there's a line that you got to draw, and you say, man, enough is enough. I done had enough. I done had enough. Enough is enough. I ain't taking no more. And that's how it go. Then you start seeing change stuff happen. You put your foot, you draw the line and say, enough is enough. I done had enough. I ain't putting up with no more. I deserve better. I deserve way better than this. And watch what happens when you put your foot in the ground. Then I'm telling you, the world move for you, fam. You can't be a door. Don't be a doormat. Don't believe the propaganda rhetoric that was created by the NFL that speaks about the fanaticism and tells you that a real fan supports the team regardless if they win, lose, or draw. Keep giving us your money. Supporting the team, they mean by keep giving money to the team. Win, lose, or draw. They set up a system where they're going to win whether they win or lose. They're going to win. That's how the system is set up. The stadiums are set up that way where you pay for it. Out of all the hundreds of millions of dollars that go into building of these massive stadiums and buildings, 80% of it is paid for by the taxpayer. Most of them taxpayers don't even watch football, but they paying for them buildings. It's a whole system outside of the football that I tabulate when I'm thinking about this shit, man. All of the hundreds of millions of dollars we done gave the Saints. We done built they practice facility over there on Airline. That land was given to them. They built that stuff up over there. That was taxpayer money that built that. That built that. And then they don't even own it, but they take it and put up Oshner and all that shit on the side of it and make money off of stuff they don't even own. Man, how you do that? How you make money off of stuff? You put signs and shit all on the side of a building you don't even own and make tens of millions of dollars on it. How you do that, man? Explain that to me. Because they don't own the dome, they don't own the arena, but how you putting signage on it like you do? And you don't get none of the money back. It's a whole chump shit. That's what I'm saying, man. We allow too much to happen, man. What you expect greedy dogs to do? At some point, you got to get smart about it and say, man, enough is enough. We are not a nation of suckers. We're not a nation of suckers, chumps, morons, idiots, and marks. At some point, you got to dig in and say, we are smart, we are empowered, and we're not taking this no more. We about to change all of this shit around. We're not going back to whatever that was. We going forward, and you are in the way, you getting trucked over. It's about what we want. At some point, when we going to do that? When we going to do that? When we going to do it? Going to let this idiot sit up here and talk at you, and we just going to sit here and whatever. I'm not listening to him. And they telling you that that's coming from the people, and I didn't move them. Look beyond the results, meaning look beyond your ass. I ain't caring about what the people talking about. It's my team. I do what I want with it. More than half of the job is appeasing the family base. They done lost sight. They done got fat, wealthy, and they got engorged with the wealth that we gave them over time. And usually if that's the case, you'll have a bunch of arrogant people. And there's none more arrogant than Mickey Loomis, and he's somebody's goddamn employee telling people they're not qualified. I never hear Gail Benson get out there and say, that you're unqualified. She'll tell people you're such a nice man. Alvin Gentry is such a nice man. She'll do that, but she'll never go out there and tell somebody that they're unqualified. And this woman worth $4 or $5 billion. Mickey's an employee telling people they're not qualified. Who the hell are you, man? This dude's sitting up here, elite and this fake elitist, was talking shit to reporters. They can't berate him and talk back at him because the Saints have stripped them people of their way to make money. So the reporters, I get it, man. They can't talk like Big Q, because Big Q don't give a shit about that, man. Big Q said this is our team. It been our team before it was their team. We was on this before the current regime bought the team. It's been our team, and it'll be our team after they gone, damn it. All right. It's our team, y'all. This is our team. This our team. All right, I'm going to get ready to get out of here. Brother Garrett says, hey, Q, I have tickets for the game with the Saints versus Chargers coming up. The way the Saints are playing, I can't even wear my new Saints jacket. That's how bad the Saints are playing. I hear you, Brother Garrett. Sorry to hear that, man. But, bro, I'm not going to none of the games. I told y'all that one a couple of years ago, man, a year and a half ago. When I put them Fire Dennis Allen shirts up, it don't take me long to see these people, man. People got to get it, man. They don't get a lot of these people have to put their fandom down, man, and start thinking about this shit logically. True change ain't gonna happen unless you participate. You can eventually go back to the games once we get what we want. Shut this shit down, man. Don't buy any of their crap or they bullshit. And while you telling them why you're not buying them, tell them that we displeased. They know you're displeased already. But you got to show them now it's a money component, because they don't think you have the intelligence, let alone the discipline, to be able to form an economic embargo against your football team. They just love the Saints so much. They'll never they're not intelligent enough to form an economic embargo against us. They're not that intelligent now. They're not. They're just going to do whatever we want to do regardless. You have some of them, they'll do it, but the rest of them, they're not going to do it. They're going to just keep giving us their money. Okay. You shall see. All right. So anyway, man, I'm gonna get on out of here, man. Listen, I appreciate all of y'all for being in the chat, man. And let me do the final on this poll. We had almost 250 people voted on the poll. Do you believe in Saints general manager Mickey Loomis? 87%. 87% of the Who Dat Nation, the Great Saint Think Tank, said no. 13% says yes. That is a complete runaway. 87% of the people in the poll said no for Mickey Loomis. That's what we are. And they're not crazy. They see what this is hitting for with this man. That's just the problem with your team. Been saying that. Mickey Loomis is the problem with the team. He's the problem. He's a dinosaur. He has way too much power. He doesn't have any imagination. And he's doing this old shit like they supposed to. It's a totally different situation. But fate will show him. And I will be here every step of the way, man. I'm not wishing for him to lose, but I'm not going to get in the way of destiny. Divine, as I call it. What's it called, fam? Divine justice. Remember we talking about that some shows ago about divine justice? I'm not going to get in the way of this divine justice. I promise you that. I'm not getting in the way of this divine justice that's about to happen to the Saints. You see it? Do y'all see what's going on here? You see this divine justice about to happen? I'm not going to get in the way. I'm not going to get in the way. Anyway, I'm going to get up out of here, man. Listen, I appreciate y'all. J. Rideout says 12%. Now someone changed their mind. 88%. That is so glaring, man. 87%. What's up, Barbara? Shout out to my girl, Barbara. Big ups to you. All right. What's up, Rico? Brother Irvin, I see you, fam. Jack, he says, Q, that is true. Most of these billionaires, Elon got millions. Yeah, that's how they make it. You don't have the luxury of having breaks, tax breaks. You're overtaxed. In some case, double and triple taxed. Don't let me get on that, fam. Don't have me get on the tax stuff, man. I could do a whole show about that, man. About all the stuff, how it's built. All of it's fraudulent. It's all fraud. It's all fraud. Don't let me get on the tax thing. But that's how they get it. That's how you get it. Not only that, but it's the things that they're eligible for that you don't get. Because they're not really spending their own money a lot of times. They don't report how much money they actually worth. A lot of them don't. You know, it's a different level of the system that they're playing at. And it's all built on you. It's built on you and how you move, because it wouldn't exist if it wasn't for you, for your contribution. Like a lot of how the stocks and bonds situation work. A lot of people gonna, oh man, I ain't gonna even say that, man. I can't tell y'all that right now. But I'm gonna tell y'all that in another stream, maybe on Patreon. We'll talk at that. But it's a lot of they operate on a thing like, oh, they're so such and such, and you really believe what they really doing. It'll turn your stomach. That's why they live in fear. They live in fear. Like one day when they find out, they're gonna haul a lot of us. Because when you find out, man, that ain't nothing in them, that fort with the gold supposed to be in there, ain't nothing up in there. And that all this stuff is done to create something to encap it, boy. Because there's a reason why is all this stuff like to get everybody fighting with everybody else. It's putting the man at the woman at the man. You got this group at that group, this religious group at that group. It's always that. That's what they do. They keep you from understanding. Every one of them people that's going at each other, they all suffering from the same stuff. They all dealing with the same diseases. They all dealing with the same polluted food. They still dealing with the polluted air, the polluted water, bad school system, all the fraudulent stuff in the society, all of it that's impacting all of those groups that's supposed to be fighting with each other. And that's the only way they retain power. Eventually, people are going to say, hold on, man, we all in the same thing together. It all happened at the same time. We all been impacted by the same stuff. And when you do, they done formed and ran. That's why they got armored redoubts on islands somewhere. People done ran up out of here and put stuff over here and stuff over there thinking you can't get to them, because they said, man, the moment they find out that we did this, boy, they're going to come and get us. Y'all really, man, I done read some stuff, man. I'm telling y'all. And right, that was years ago. And it plays like a movie today. It play like a movie today. It just, and the people, the entertainers, and some of these other people, they are part of it. Like they think they're a part of it, but they use to draw you into it. How you make a star. Like you have a star, they make stars. That's idol worship, which is supposed to be wrong. You ain't supposed to worship no idol. But that's what they are. They're completely them stars. So you got a star and a superstar. Well, who makes a star and a superstar? They do. Then most of the time people look at them and they, whatever the superstar said, the R&B lady or the top singer and whatever she say do, the majority of them go and do it. Whatever she dress you with, it is star worship and stuff. I remember they had that stuff going on back in the 60s when they were doing the Beatles experiment. When the Beatles came here, they was running all these little weird things on them and all so much stuff out there, fam. So much stuff to talk about. Anyway, but that's too much. I'm about to get on up out of here, man. Yeah, that's right, Jay Black. What's up, Jay Black? Shout out to my boy, Jay Black. Useless eaters. That's the title, bro. Useless. That's what they call us. Useless eaters. Useless eaters. Like I said, fam, y'all won't hear no. Just join Patreon, fam. I'm constantly always adding videos to it. I got a couple of videos I'm gonna put up there tonight. Matter of fact, there's a video I put up there on Patreon about your boy. What's his name? Yuri Brezmanov. Listen to that. There's another old guy who was a war hero back in the day. I think I put that one. I'm going to have to repost that again up there. His name was Smedley Butler. These are guys, man. Listen to what these guys were saying like in the 40s and 50s. Get game, man, and spread it around, man. It is too easy to figure out. They just use all this other stuff to keep you fighting. That's how they keep it. So, I mean, yeah. Check out the Patreon, man. There's some other stuff that's going on. There's this, y'all heard this new bug thing that's going on. It's not new. It's old stuff, but it's a website about, Lord, it's just so much, man. It's a bug thing with Bill Gates. I'm going to just say that much, man. I'm going to post that tonight on Patreon. But listen, I'm going to get out of here, man. I appreciate all y'all, man, for being here. Y'all, please feel free to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. By all means, feel free to share the show on social media feed. I'll be back with us tomorrow, Thursday. Well, of course, I'll be back tomorrow because tomorrow's Thursday Night Football. Saints are there. So we'll see. We'll do the watch party tomorrow, family. We'll cover all of the haps of the watch party on Thursday, man, and we'll see what the Saints can do. Like I said before, I picked the Saints to lose this game, and I'll tell you why. Because I don't have confidence in Clint Kubiak to establish the running play, to get other guys involved, that he should have got involved when other guys were healthy. I'm really don't believe in his adjustment ability. He's been kind of showing me he's a poor adjuster in many cases. And some of his play calling in certain situations, I've lost kind of confidence based on what I've seen and studied on the film. So it's certain things about him, Clint Kubiak, that I want to be able to see if he's learning anything in a short week for them to make them type of listen. They had a collapse. They collapsed in the Tampa Bay game. That was a collapse. They fell apart and basically quit in the game. You think they're going to rebound in a shortened week with all those major injuries? When stuff like that happens, something major is going wrong with the psyche and mentality and the heart of the team when that happens. Of course, they could respond. But when you culminate all of that with a limited playbook, limited options, and then they already dealing with these mental and spiritual issues for the team after that loss to Tampa Bay, I can't pick them. I can't pick them to win, man. Maybe it'll be an interesting game. I hope they do win. I just don't think that they overcome all of the other stuff. And Clint Kubiak's vanilla play call and all this, the poor interior offensive line play, the inability to establish in the running attack, I just don't see it. That hurts me to say it, but it's the truth. But anyway, let me get out on here. Y'all do me a service. Please feel free to check out our sponsors that sponsor this Tacoma, Mint Mobile. Shout out to Mint Mobile. Check them out. They got good phones, man. Great service, great prices in this high-ass inflated economy. Teach Henley, you can get about 20% off on their products. That's skincare for men. And Betonline, man, if you need some extra money, I ain't mad at you, fam. Betonline, man, if you can't make money with the Saints, you might have to make money. whatever your boxing, whatever, you got to make a few extra dollars in this ridiculous, inflated ass economy, man. Try out bet online if you got a few extra bucks, man. You're trying to make you a little extra money for your bills or whatever. All right. So anyway, with that being said, man, I'm gonna get out on that. I appreciate y'all, man. Y'all have a wonderful rest of y'all night, and I'll see y'all on the watch party tomorrow. Peace, and who that to you.
Yeah. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, 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 huh? Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shame for the championship. Bucking on town, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy, then you probably smell the crooked referees or Roger Goodell. Yeah, probably like this, and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like this, and I'm a who that. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
Betonline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything sports betting. Every stat, matchup, breakdown, even live odds and spreads to bet on during games. With the largest catalog of odds on everything from football, MLB playoffs, NHL, NBA to political props. When the game's over, head on over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker or unwind with over 150 slot games. Head to the website today to get on the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. Bet online. The game starts here.
WhoThatDaily.com. That's right, the WhoThatDaily.com. Your one-stop shop for everything New Orleans Saints, New Orleans Pelicans, LSU Tigers, even the top flight boxing news. So if you're a Who That, you're looking for a place to stay up on your team, WhoThatDaily.com is your site. The WhoThatDaily.com for the sport Who That in all of us. That's right, the Pro Shop is the platform store where you can go and buy all the latest merch to support the platform. Available at the Pro Shops, we have dozens of hundreds of products available for you and your family. Unisex tees for men and women, hoodies and sweatshirts, tank tops, kids and baby items, long sleeve tees, mugs, pillows, wall art, bath bedding, face masks, phone cases, stickers, bags, fanny packs, socks, hats, and many other items. Please feel free to check out the Pro Shops. The link is in the description section below. And remember, it helps the platform continue to grow. Check out the Pro Shop